Greetings, pro wrestling fans, and thank you for joining us at the Pro Wrestling LookBack Podcast. I'm Nick, and I'm sitting here with...
Sup, fuckers, it's Will. I told you I was going to do it.
Yeah. Oh, wow, you said you were going to change it up, but, well, thanks for joining us again, Will.
And Honda Tech Phil.
Good to have you guys back. Every other week, it's good. This is episode 65 of the Roundtable. Thank you for checking out the show. If you don't already, give us a follow on Instagram and Twitter at PW LookBack on there. Follow, like, subscribe, comment, share, DM, PM, send me a message, whatever you want.
Get at me.
Pro Wrestling LookBack at gmail.com is where you can send an email if you want to do that. Topics for the show, questions, ideas, anything like that, concerns, let me know. Hit up iTunes, Spotify, Podbean, YouTube, and Google Play. Subscribe on there as well and hit the 5 stars on iTunes. Leave us a comment. Like I always say, make it a good one. But if not, again, I don't really care. Just leave a comment. I'd prefer that. If you want to follow me on Twitter, at Salsa, SCELSA. If you want to follow Dawn, it is at The Dawn Hour.
I'm at Lateral G, LATERELG.
And Honda Tech Phil. Nice and easy.
Nice and easy. Honda Tech Phil is Honda
So
Tech.
simple.
Yeah.
Philip.
So simple. Lip. Not Philip. Lip.
Yeah, we're just going to call him Lip from now on. I like that. But yeah, if you don't already, follow the main one at PW LookBack. And don't forget, check out teespring.com/Pro Wrestling LookBack. That's where you can get t-shirts, mugs, sweaters, all different kinds of stuff in there. I think I was talking about a backpack a few months ago, and that never happened, but we'll see. Maybe. I heard our boy Younger bought a sweater, so I can't wait to see that. Shout out to Younger, and I'll see you soon. But yeah, boys, what's going on? We got the old, I don't know what we should call this. Is this like the F1 crew? Should we call it the F1 crew?
Sure.
Are we back?
What episode is this?
65, I said it.
You
Don't
did?
worry. Yeah, check the tape.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Check the tape. I remembered this time. But yeah, like I said, we kind of do this every other week thing with myself and Donovan and then you guys every other week. I enjoy it, but we're here, talk wrestling, talk racing as we do. We'll get into the F1 update and stuff later, but how are you guys doing?
I'm doing pretty good.
I'm fucking good.
Good?
I'm happy.
Ready?
Big update for Call of Duty, and one of my favorite games finally got released on PC, so
And?
I'm excited. Very excited. Only got a little taste last night, but...
I had to, right? We're big Halo fans here. Been playing it since, I don't know. I played the first one, so.
I gotta be honest. This is my first time playing Halo.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. I've played Halo in the past, but it was like I've been over to a friend's house and we did just custom game modes. This is my first time, like split screen.
Okay.
Like this is my first time actually sitting down and being able to play a Halo.
Well, I'm excited for you.
So what are your thoughts on it then?
Apparently, I'm a god at SWAT.
Attaboy.
Okay. See, I'm
Is
more...
that PC? Is that why?
Flicks.
Yes.
Explain, because maybe I'm the noob now, but what is SWAT? Because I'm more of a campaign...
It's a multiplayer game mode where basically only headshots count.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's like a hardcore mode kind of.
But if you shoot them in the body, do they...
It's not as much damage.
No,
Okay.
they don't take any damage.
Oh, no damage.
At all. So it's only headshots.
Yeah, it's only headshots.
Oh, I'm confused.
Or it might be like upper torso as well, but it's only headshots, yeah.
Either way, that's interesting.
I felt like a god in the snipers mode, though. That made me happy and brings back a lot of memories from Halo 2 for me.
I was going to say the modding days, maybe.
Well, yeah, and also just the competitive side of it, too, with 4 buddies there.
Yeah, I never played online Halo. Like, the first time I ever played a competitive, well, I guess competitive, I don't know, online game of Halo was when I got Master Chief Collection in 2015? Is that when it came out? Or 16?
I think so. Sounds about right.
Something like that.
15,
Either way.
Yeah.
I always enjoyed playing the campaigns of those games a lot more than the multiplayer.
Mm-hmm.
That's just because I'm not that good, to be honest.
Do you
You're the story guy.
remember those days where you could sell a game because of its campaign and now it's multiplayer mode?
Yeah, no, not so much.
Those
Look
are
at
the
Battlefront 2 years ago.
Yeah.
That game had an amazing campaign, and all you kept hearing was that the multiplayer wasn't good because of microtransactions.
Yep.
It's like, what about this awesome campaign that nobody's talking about? I don't know. You know what else came out this week? And me and Donovan talked about it last week, and I know you've been listening to it.
Yeah.
Is that new Game album, Born to Rap.
Born to Rap.
Holy shit. I said last week that this was the least excited I was for a Game album. And I think it was because I was just getting a little bit older, wasn't as into him as I was, or if it was because I've only been listening to 80s hip-hop for the last 3 months, and that's obviously nothing.
It's a different style.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That being said, I was still excited. It was just my hype level wasn't quite up to where it was for Jesus Peace and other albums that have come out in the past. So I have to say, holy fuck, he was right. He was hyping this one up for months and months, and I just was wait and see. It's a classic. He said it's going to be a classic, and this one is a classic. I mean, this isn't a hip-hop show, but we spent some time talking about shit we like, and holy shit, do I like this this album. It's really good.
Personally, man, I if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't even know that there was a new album coming out, but I'm happy that you told me about it, and I looked into it and started listening to it because it is fucking good.
It's a nice collection of, like, there's really, like, hard, bassy type songs, and then there's some really slow
nice
stuff.
Duets, yeah.
Yeah, he's got a few songs, well, the open and close is kind of with Ed Sheeran, and then there's a mix of all people that he's been with over the years, Chris Brown and Bryson Tyler? I don't know how to say it. I can't remember. I sound like a rook again. But either way, there's a nice collection of people, and it's full of name dropping because that's kind of what he's known for is name dropping other artists and stuff. But I don't know. I had to shout out the song Carmen Electra and Lights Out because those are two songs that I'm...
You like those two?
Oh, those are like my two bangers right now, yeah.
Just because you said Carmen Electra, I won't pick that one, but I'll say West Side and Gold Daytonas. Shout out to Donovan there for that one. That Gold Daytonas is awesome.
Yes, the Gold Daytonas. Man, and me and you sitting at work, we're like, what are Gold Daytonas? We got to look this up. Watches makes sense.
Sure enough, it's a Rolex watch.
Yeah, but all those West Side, I told you, it's crazy little, I guess, story. The song came out in June because it was like the one single of the album.
Yeah.
And I think I told you this. I'm not 100% sure.
You were in New York.
Yeah, I was in New York, and I talked about being in New York on the show way back, whenever it was, in June. And it's just weird to me that the first time I heard that song was in a hotel room in New York City where I'd been for the first time, New York. And I'm always going to associate that song with New York City, even though the song is called West Side and it's all about West Coast hip-hop and West Side living. It's not a big deal. I just find it funny that forever, whenever I hear that song, it's going to be associated with sitting in the hotel room, maybe or maybe not in the bathroom, sitting on my phone listening to that song on Spotify for the first time. But
so educate me, because I'm not well-versed on the rap scene
for sure
in any of the years. The Game is, I feel like he's from the 90s, early 2000s. Is that correct? Is that when he started to become popular? Yeah,
more early 2000s. Actually, the album that you can see, you'll see it in the picture if anybody's watching on YouTube, but the one there, the white one, the documentary, that was his debut album, and he was just straight up just a gangster from Compton who wanted to try and figure out a way to get out of there, and he was decent at rapping, so he started making mixtapes here and there, that kind of thing, and then eventually got picked up by Dr. Dre, and that's who helped co-sign him and make that album. And then that album blew up. He was in G Unit. I'm sure you're familiar with the name, or at least the term or the clothing line of G Unit.
G Unit.
Yeah, exactly. And and he was in that.
I had to do it.
No, that's a staple of the. So it makes sense. But he was in that group, and then they split up over years. And he kind of was just he's been releasing albums. I think this is his one that just came out. Is either his 9th or his 10th. I thought it was his 10th, but then I keep reading online that it's his 9th. So I'm not sure what officially it is. But yeah, so he, not so much the late 90s, more the early 2000s. But yeah, from a different era. Like, I told a few people that I know the Game and had a new album, and they're looking at me like, he still makes music? And I'm like, fuck yeah, man. It's not all Lil Uzi and 21 Savage and all these guys that I don't know, 21 Savage is actually on the album, but you know what I mean? Yeah, so he's been around, and there's people that obviously, because I suck at math, but I wasn't old enough probably to be listening to rap in 2004, not that kind of rap that wasn't, the Eminem Show, because I definitely got my hands on that album back then, but, hate it or love it, some of the songs I could show you maybe from that album you might recognize just because of, like, the radio play and shit that they got back then.
Yeah.
Again, you are a little bit younger than me and Phil, so I don't know if that gap is bridged, but, yeah, either way, I'm a big fan. He's been my favorite musician for a long time, so when I heard that it was a new album, obviously.
Is the style of this album like kind of what we're seeing more in the more popular rap scenes, kind of like that mumble rap or trap rap, or is it his like old classic stuff?
It's a bit of a mix. I would say more definitely of the old classic stuff. There's very, very minimal of like the mumble rap. It's a lot more of that like mid 2000s style, but I don't know how to.
He's almost telling stories in some of the songs.
Yeah,
man.
it's
storytelling. It's
definitely bringing it back, and there's a bunch of lines like where he talks about, I love the rap with storytelling, and then he drops like, I think Biggie's name and Nas's name and just a few guys who, storytelling rappers. And then there's a lot of verses and beats in the album that are taken from other popular albums from over the years and twisted into their own little way. Like there's one from Big Pun. Mike D would love this if I'm shouting it out, and if he hasn't heard it, go listen. But it's I'm not a player, I just crush a lot. Like that whole song, that whole first verse Game puts into one of the songs and switches like 2 words of every line. So it's, if you know the song, like the original, when you're listening to it, you're like, holy shit, this is incredible. This is some art. But yeah, I don't know. I'm sure I'll talk about it again with Donovan next week because we have barely even spoke about it in person, but just our phone calls that we talked about last week.
Did you happen to get that link I sent you for the KRS album?
I did, but
City Lights?
I didn't open it. I got to be honest with you.
You got sketched out?
No.
okay.
I was just busy when you sent it to me, and then I didn't go back to it. But
it's a free download, though.
But I recognize the album cover.
Yeah, the City Light. Yeah, Street Light.
Yeah. I've seen that somewhere. You showed it to me.
It was probably on his Instagram.
Yeah.
You can get it right through his Instagram if you just go on KRS-One. And
Is it new?
Yeah, he just released it.
Okay.
But it's a free download. You just put your email in it, and they'll send you a link
and then
on your email. You just download on your computer. I did that last night.
Well, shout out to KRS-One. I'll definitely check that out.
Blastmaster, the teacher himself. KRS-One.
The real MC.
That's it.
I don't know. One thing, we'll get into it in a second. There was two little things I wanted to talk about. One was I saw this week. I don't want to spend too much time on this, but have you guys ever heard of World Cup of Beach Soccer?
Yeah, we talked about that a little bit. I saw that when I was at Boston Pizza on the weekend for my son's birthday lunch.
No, I have not.
And no, neither have I until Saturday.
Neither did I. I thought they were playing handball in the sand.
So did I. And at first I thought it was volleyball, and then I'm like, okay, there's no net. So anyway, I turn on the TV and it says World Cup Beach, and I'm like, what the fuck? So I turn it on and it's all full, looks like a volleyball basically place with no, maybe a little bit bigger, and no net. And it was Italy. Shout out to Italy. I'm Italian. And Portugal. And I'm like, all right, well, this is the finals of the World Cup of Beach Soccer. I might as well watch this. I don't know. I just wanted to bring up the fact that I didn't know World Cup of Beach Soccer existed, and that's fucking amazing.
There's always those, I say weird, not to be rude, but
yeah,
you know what I mean. The sports that you'll sometimes see on TV. Like we have,
one-offs.
like you and me, we both race karts. Like there's the nationals here in Canada, right?
Yep.
The Canadian nationals. Every once a year, they'll broadcast the nationals on TSN and stuff.
Really?
Yeah.
That I've never seen. I would love to even watch some of that on YouTube. Just watching the professional guys go around the cart that or the track that I drive on, and you drove on. But yeah, I don't know. It's like I said, I don't want to spend a lot of time on it, especially because Italy got throttled like 6-2. So it wasn't awesome to watch, but it was just cool because it's 3-on-3, and the goalies, I don't know if there's like a rule where they have to play keep up as they're walking with the ball, but like they couldn't just like have it at their feet. They either had to throw it, and if they wanted to walk with the ball, they had to literally like play keep up and bounce it on their knee or their foot while they were walking. That's different. And then it was just a different style of soccer, but I mean, you still had the dives and all that kind of stuff, which I'm not against. It's a part of soccer, and that's, if the ref's going to call it, I'm going to jump and scream too, because it's going to get me a fucking penalty. Besides the point. I don't know. I wanted to give, let's give that one of these, because very cool.
Very cool.
And I like to see interesting new sports. Like when I got super into the World Series a month ago, whenever that was, watching something and not having a lot of context to it, and maybe just watching the finals like I did with this, can be a lot of fun.
We need to get you into esports.
Maybe.
Ooh.
Esports. Was it?
Oh shit! The F1 esports final was like yesterday or something. Fuck, I forgot. Or was it today?
I'll find out how my boy Brendan Lee did. I know
he was shit.
Didn't
he
have a
wasn't
good
even on the cover. I think it was like some other guys like Rasmus and Tonitza or some guy like that. They call him like Godzilla or Godzilla. Yeah. He's the Ferrari driver, I believe, and then the other Rasmus guy was a Red Bull driver.
Well, perfect little segue, because I wanted to see if Will wanted to give a little plug to his ARC Racing League, and then I want to get some thoughts, because we talked about it 2 weeks ago. You were going into a 3-hour?
Yes.
3-hour endurance race of Spa in the GT cars. So I figure before we go far down into the wrestling hole, let's, how did it go? And plug away if you want to.
Well,
obviously.
I guess I'll plug first. Again, ARC, Adrenaline Racing Community. It's a sim racing community me and my friends do over on Gran Turismo. We broadcast our races. We have team versus team events, inter-team events, and every odd event here and there, like my endurance race. It's just fun time for all of us. It's all for fun, play for keeps. You know, it's just fun. Everyone's free to join. Like you guys can free to join at any point.
I told you I'm practicing my GT3 laps. I'm liking the Volkswagen Beetle. Don't jump to conclusions, listeners.
I'm not gonna jump to conclusions. The Beetle won manufacturers this season.
Well, no, I know you know that, but anybody who's listening, thinking this guy wants to sim race and he's gonna go for the Beetle,
yeah,
that's all. I was just clarifying for them, you know.
Yeah. But it's all good fun, and the racing is awesome, and it's all on YouTube over at youtube.com/adrenaline racing community. So if you're interested in that, go for that. But as for me, an update on Spa.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I have to admit that I wasn't quite fast enough as some of the top guys in ARC I had to qualify, so I ended up in lobby 2, which is the slower lobby.
How did you make out in that lobby? Or as far as qualifying went, before we get into the...
I qualified second in my class.
Oh, nice. That's
and
good.
in the race, I ended up winning my class by about a minute and 30 seconds.
Oh, wow.
Oh, nice.
Good for you, bro.
Nice. All that practice came in handy.
It did. It did come in handy. It's like up to a few hours before the event, just out of nowhere, I just managed to sometimes just cut my time down by like a second, and I still don't know how I managed to do it.
And that's a fun track to do in a GT3 car. Which car were you using?
The NSX.
Oh, shout out to Honda.
Sponsored by Team Liquid.
Yes.
That's wicked. But no, that's good to hear that it went well. And obviously, was there any guys in the Tier 2 or Group 2 or whatever you want to call it that race in the ARC?
Oh, yeah.
That you commentate on?
Oh, yeah. All the guys I was racing against, they're all there. They're all compete in the championship series.
So, and a lot of them were in Group 2?
Some of them were in Group 2, but all the fast guys like you normally see on the stream,
of course,
are in the upper lobby. But I surprised quite a few people knowing that I was only I think 1 lap off the lead lap compared to
really
the guys who would win championships and stuff.
Well, I was just curious if there's guys that do that championship that are sitting here thinking like, yo, the fucking commentator's whooping our ass. Like, this guy commentates on our races normally. Now he jumps in the car and he's friggin' a minute down the road. What the heck's going on? That's what I was thinking.
G29's feeling nice then.
Oh, it is.
Oh, yeah, you got the G29 steering we talked about last week. I want to see a picture of that because I can't picture, you know what I mean?
Can't picture the steering wheel?
Not that specific one, no. Is it the one that you have?
Yeah, man.
Oh.
I
thought you already had that and then you went out and got it.
I had the G27. The G27, it's the same shape, but it's just got like the 6 or 3 red buttons on each side.
Okay.
The G29 has the actual like X, square, triangle, and
which is like yours, yeah.
And it's got like a little dial down here and the up and down buttons down here.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know what I was getting confused with because I saw one. I'm not going to find the picture now, but that one I showed you a picture of that they had at Canada Computers. It was like $700, $600.
I thought that was a Thrustmaster.
That would be a Thrustmaster. The G29 I got for like $400.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And they actually went on sale on Black Friday too. Damn, should have bought a second one.
I'm at the point now where I'm not going to because I have too much shit and I love my shit to death. But the Fantech stuff is insane.
Oh, Fanatec, yes,
is just incredible. And
I want the direct drive so bad.
Well, that's a whole nother. I could get a Fanatec that wasn't direct drive and I'd be happy too.
Yes.
No, at that point you got to go all out, bro.
Dude, but then you got to get a whole new rig. Direct drive changes your whole.
Oh yeah, the direct drive you have to. You have to have a new rig. You have to have a proper.
I will build my rig.
Mine would snap. Like my wood rig.
Oh yeah. The
literally
torque would
snap.
That's not even a joke. It would snap.
I know.
Yeah.
That was like the racing place that we went to. What is it called again?
Simtrack?
Simtrack, yeah. Those were all Fanatec.
I drove by there today.
Those were all Fanatec.
Yeah, and they...
So smooth, though, man. It's such a smooth input.
Did you get the video I sent you from when I was at Sim 1 on Saturday?
The overhead view?
Yeah. And of the box? Didn't I send you a video of the box?
Oh, yeah, you were opening the Fanatec, yeah.
Dude, have you ever opened a box of a Fanatec steering wheel?
No.
Okay, so it's the 5 lights. So you open one layer,
yeah.
and you open one layer of the box, and the light goes down, and then you open the next layer, and the light, and it until you get to the bottom layer, and then it says green, go, and then like you open up the box and the wheels inside. Because I was building simulators last weekend at Sim 1, so
I think I need a new job.
That's, I mean, yeah. Hey,
Put
you know your shit about computers. I'm surprised you don't work at some IBM or some shit like that.
I'm not a computer scientist, so IBM's out of the question. But everyone else, like even like Canadian Computers, they all want sales experience. They want the experience, but they're not willing to give it. You know?
Yeah, that makes no sense.
That's silly.
Especially when you have the knowledge.
Yeah.
But anyway, maybe this is more of an off-air conversation.
It's life. It's whatever.
No, for sure.
I mean, if SimF1's hiring, or you know.
Well, the place I'm at,
yeah.
He can barely get me in full time. I would maybe. Well, does John need people in Whitby?
I don't know, man.
You could go in there.
Speaking of which, we should probably hit that up next week.
We definitely should. I got some. We could. Yeah, we'll plan that. And then, the only other thing I was going to say, kind of same related segue, I guess, is just that I've been super into the GT. I just wanted to say that I've been making liveries and stuff. I can't wait to hopefully join ARC, whether it's next year with Phil or if it's just even doing lobbies and stuff with you. Like when you jumped in the lobby a few nights or a week ago, whenever it was, probably 3 weeks ago now.
We have a whole bunch of stuff like that in ARC. We have Thursday Super Series, which is kind of just like every Thursday. It's just a one-off event or whatever. It's like a small championship. Like we had a Lambo versus Ferrari in the GT3s or whatever.
That's cool.
Friday night Super Series. Do
you guys ever do just open lobbies, like practice kind of stuff?
Yeah. Oh yeah. When championships are going on, like it's always practice for the next event.
But it's private? Like I wouldn't be able to join that ARC lobby, obviously, right? Unless I went through you.
Yeah, probably, yeah. But
Okay.
like if like we have the Discord like we showed you, and they'll pop up in the Discord saying practice lobby open on me, and you add that person to your friends list, and you'll just be able to join the lobby if you want to practice it.
See, you got to get Discord working, bro.
Yeah, we tried to get it. But
Well,
I mean, I
think
have
it
the
was your
account,
Wi-Fi
and
or
I'm
something
there.
was tripping
It
out.
could have been my little Bluetooth headphone that I was using. That's what I was
Maybe.
using. I don't know. Phil's not happy.
Sounded like
about
he
it.
was just
Jeez.
muting his mic every second.
We were trying to. It could have been that, or I got my chair downstairs working now too, so I got the sound coming from the subwoofer in my chair. So the whole chair kind of rumbles when you drive. And the sound's coming from behind you. It's pretty nice. You'll have to try it. But yeah, that's. I mean, as far as the racing stuff goes, that's pretty much it. I mean, until we get to the F1 update, obviously. But the only other thing I wanted to say quickly before we get into some wrestling stuff is just if anybody's interested in sponsoring the Pro Wrestling LookBack podcast, shoot me a DM if you have a product or something that you want to be, read on the show or heard about from our listeners. Let me know, and we can talk on whether it's Instagram or whatever. DM me somewhere, and we'll figure it out. I just wanted to let people know that is an option. We happily to end the sponsorship with Pure Oxide and thank everything that they did for us, and happy, wish them luck and what's a good word? Prosperity?
Yeah.
Sure.
Going forward. But yeah, I just wanted to let people know. It was something I had written down that I didn't really get at the beginning of the show. So with all that stuff being said, how about that new fucking title belt, boys? Woo! What do you think?
Oh, yeah, I hit the button again.
I know, the sound was down. That's like my kind of the wrestling sound that I like to use now.
I guess we should clarify, it's not a new title belt in the sense that it's a replacement. It's a unique belt for a certain character.
Yeah.
That's exactly how we spoke about it last time, right?
Yeah, well, me and you talked a little bit about it at work, and you kind of you're the one who had the idea 2 weeks ago. Like, why didn't he
doing the split, right?
Split the belt down the middle or down the, horizontally or vertically, whatever, and make it 2 belts in one? Well, they didn't do that. We got Bray Wyatt coming out at Survivor Series with the blue Universal Championship around his neck. He wore it the same kind of way that the Usos used to wear it. And it was okay. I mean, nobody really complained. That match was okay. And then he shows up on SmackDown with this mask belt.
Fiend belt.
Give me your thoughts, because I haven't talked to you at all about it.
Well, we did say when we first got the belt, we were kind of hoping for a more custom style belt. We were thinking it's a little too soon, but we were hoping for something special with the Fiend.
Yeah.
I don't know if we were necessarily thinking that it'd be the 2 separate belts that represent the same thing. I wasn't necessarily thinking that was our idea.
No.
But I don't think it's a bad idea.
I don't think it's a bad idea to have 2 belts in 2 different representations. Like, Bray Wyatt, Mr. Rogers has the blue belt, and it kind of fits with his setting and whatever. That's the WWE belt. Yep. That's what they want it to look like. And he's cool with that, his character. But the Fiend is like, no, that's not, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't want to say it's an issue, but I'm just not, I don't know why they chose the mask.
Yeah. I feel like a polar opposite to the blue belt, like of the red strap, or maybe like a black strap with like red accents on it.
Yeah. There was a lot of stuff floating around online with just, variations of the championship. And I guess maybe if they were going to do this thing where they're going to have 2 separate belts, you don't want to have them look similar.
Yeah.
Like if you're going to have 2 belts for one guy, but even though it's, schizo, 2 different characters, you're not going to have 2 of them that look exactly or even similar. For me, I'm very curious to see him walk to the ring with it, because I just think it's going to be weird seeing like 2 masks. Like his face is the belt.
Yeah.
So it's like you're going to see his face, which is already cool and scary and whatever. But then we see the mask stretched out onto a belt. I don't know. It's not my favorite. I got to be honest. It's not that I don't like the idea. The idea is great, and I think it's better than not choosing to do anything at all. It's the fact that it's the mask. I'm very curious to see what it looks like when he has a mask on his face and a mask on his waist.
I don't think he's gonna wear it around the waist. I think he's gonna do the Undertaker, where he just kind of drags it to the ring.
Drags it, yeah.
Yeah. Or do you think he'll do the necklace, whatever he did again?
Maybe he might do like the necklace thing, like the Usos do, but
where it's a face on the face.
I think him dragging it to the ring probably fits his character better. Yeah.
I agree. That would suit him more.
Fun fact.
Visually, it would look better.
The reason the Undertaker did it was because the idea was that the Undertaker, his character, wouldn't be concerned with materialistic possessions like a championship.
And when did he do that? Was that like early? Because I don't remember.
That was when he was doing. That's when he first, I think, won the world title.
Yeah, okay. Because I was picturing like 2000, like when he had the World Heavyweight Championship
Yeah,
and stuff, and he definitely wasn't doing it then. I think he was wearing it around his waist.
Yeah,
at
yeah.
that
When he
point.
was when he older, but in the earlier stuff like Ministry of Darkness and a
Yep.
little bit before, he would drag it to the ring.
That made sense. And no, what you said about him not having a attachment to physical things, that makes a lot of sense. But yeah, I don't know. I just think it was a weird choice to take the mask and stretch it out into a belt.
I guess I feel like they went with the mask because that's kind of what identifies him at this point. But it's not the colors that identify it, or it's just that you can't. The side plates or the blue belt wouldn't look good on the Fiend. So something custom made sense, I guess. But I guess the mask is just the biggest identifier for him.
No, it makes sense.
That's the face, right? That's exactly what you see when you see the Fiend is the face. So.
Yeah.
You're both right. It's just like, yeah, I know. I'm looking at his face. I don't need to see his face again.
Twice.
But it is better than not changing it at all, definitely. And yeah, I don't know, it's probably for the better, to be honest. As much as it might not be my favorite, I'm trying to think of what they could have done differently, and anything that I'm thinking up in my head is stuff that's related to the Firefly Funhouse, which isn't necessarily related to the Fiend.
Yeah.
It's more related to, like, you're not going to put Mercy the Buzzard or something on the belt or one of these characters from that show or the picture of the house. Like, that wouldn't make sense either. So yeah, I guess.
But you also had that good point though. You were thinking that they should have done a two-side. One side's the blue, and then you flip it, and the other side would have been the Fiend, the schizo, the whole.
Yeah, that would have been. I mean, yeah, you're right. I said that to you at work. As far as literally having it be one side flipped to the other side rather than down the middle, because then you could just flip it.
Yeah.
But making the belt work at that point would be difficult. Because
Exactly.
it is
You
still a
wouldn't be
belt
able
that
to
has
bend
the
it back.
buckles, right?
Exactly. That's I was gonna say how would work practically.
I mean,
I don't know.
magnets. I mean, they could put magnets in the leather, sure, but
It's
At that point, my idea is still the best, man. I think they should have just split it down the middle and have half of it like a Bray Wyatt style and the other half the Fiend style.
yeah. So it's literally like schizo, like two characters sharing.
And like even not just make it a clean split in the middle, like make it like spliced in together, like stitched together, sketchy.
Yeah. Like he broke the original championship, like with a hammer. Or
Like
something.
the Fiend was like, no, I don't want this. I'm gonna fuck this up. I'm making my own. You know what I mean?
Bro, they could.
kind of like a hardcore title, but it's kind of like
Yeah.
together, yeah.
And I'm just thinking like where they could really, like, I'm getting character videos and what they could build. Like, you could have videos of him like smashing it, and then like kind of like being like no, and like going back on himself in the sense that he's like no, we can't break it, and he's talking to himself, and it's like there's two guys there, but there's only one guy there.
Because he did that in his segment, right? He's like, he's like sharing is caring, and if I have one, then he should have one.
Exactly.
That's exact. I'm pretty sure that's the way he put
and
it.
talking about him like he's another person.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That would have been cool if they could, almost like he was fighting with himself,
Well,
as far as like the Fiend saying, no, we got to break this and make it our own, and then him saying, no, we got to keep this, and then in the end it
I
looked,
believe that's a characteristic of schizophrenia. It's
Exa-
actually fighting against the other, the being in you. I
exactly, yeah. No, I like that's I don't know, hopefully they do more with it, to be honest. The only other thing I want to talk about as far as the actual belt goes, unless you have anything to say, did you see the price?
guess. Marketing value or what?
you saw the price then, Phil?
Yeah.
He told me.
Oh god, like that has to, it's either that has to be a placeholder price so that no one actually buys it.
I don't think, what I think it is I think if you, and this is what they said at least, I don't know how true it is, I never thought of a placeholder price, that's a good idea, but then again, somebody would buy it.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
we got Green Shirt
I mean-
going to every fucking show, sitting front row at every main event of the year. It's like he can afford it.
I mean, the idea of a placeholder price is like when you go on Amazon and you look at a product you've been looking at before, and all of a sudden it's like $500 when it used to be like $50.
Yeah.
That's because the seller doesn't want to take it off of Amazon, but they want to keep the listing up. So they set the price to like $500 so no one actually buys it, so that they actually have time to get it back in stock, but you don't have to relist it.
Definitely, and that makes sense perfectly in that area, that realm. But I just think with WWE and the amount of fans they have, somebody out there
Oh yeah.
would drop the $6,000.
So if you buy that belt, are you getting an exact replica handmade, or are you just getting a
So that's what I was just about to say to
made
you
in
next.
China by a
That's-
little kid in
no.
a factory?
From what I can gather and what I know as of right now, the reason that belt is $6,000, $6,500, whatever it is.
I thought it was $1,699.
Oh, maybe I
don't think it's $6,000.
I
I
saw-
thought it was
He told me
I saw
seven,
six.
bro.
I saw $6,500.
I'm pretty sure it's $1,699. That was what I saw.
Either way, the reason that the belt is over $1,000,
Mm-hmm.
It's just whatever.
1,500.
We'll put it there.
Like we know it's over 1,000 no matter what. So the reason it's that much, I thought, was because this belt is getting hand done by somebody.
Mhm.
It's just like my fucking lightsaber that I bought at Star Wars Celebration. It's expensive because this isn't mass produced in a shop somewhere.
Yeah.
This is
They're
hand
mold and
made
everything.
to order.
exactly
Yeah.
handcrafted by a specific individual.
Oh, kind of like my Joker costume, right?
Yeah, that never came.
No, it did
Next
come.
year,
It
2020.
did come, just November 4th.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know how many people are going out to buy that belt as we speak. But I mean, if you're a massive Bray Wyatt fan and you got the money and you want the original,
You're getting some special at Christmas, Nick.
His birthday's around the corner.
It's going right there on the wall.
it would look good in a frame. Because I hope that's not a one that we'd see fucking belt collectors walking around. And
It's not hanging up on a wall like that.
no,
one,
and that's not even what I meant. I meant like the guys who show up to Monday Night Raw with 2 belts and they're trying to hold their popcorn and their drink in both belts and they got it's like, buddy, come on. Like, do what you want, but that's, you know what I
All
mean?
the power to you.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to see that belt.
Hey man, when I got my replica, I owned it.
Oh, for sure. Well, you bought it there. That's different.
I bought it
These
there and
guys
I wore it the whole show.
No, I'm talking about these guys that show up with their belt that's 20 years old and they got both of them. It's like, dude, don't you expect to like, maybe grab something while you're there? Like you're just walking around with 2. I don't know. Like I said, I don't want to chirp. To each his own. If you want to bring your belts to your wrestling show, go right ahead. Even bring the Fiend belt. And if I see you, I'm gonna come. Well, I don't know. Like I said, I don't.
That's
I hope
a Twitter post right there.
But
Yeah.
even,
I hope to not
what-
see that
what-
belt at a show.
I want to know what material is it made out of. I would assume leather, but I don't know how they're getting the shape of the mask on it because it's not a flat image.
No, it looks like a rubbery
Yeah.
leather. I would imagine something similar to the
Latex
actual mask.
Yeah, latex silicone, but like
Silicone, yeah, probably.
even then, I don't see that. I get made to order, but over $1,000. Like I could see made to order custom championship, one off each, maybe 500.
I don't-
like over 1,500.
No, but they're already 500. Like if you're buying a mass-produced WWE this version, this belt, but leather,
which is still overpriced.
of
but-
course. But I'm just saying, like in comparison, you got to keep in mind. I thought the belt was $6,000 for fucking 5 days. So
Yeah.
now hearing that it's only $1,500, it's like it's $1,500. It's not so bad. It's just
Black Friday deal.
yeah,
Oh, big sale.
Again, I don't know if this is just because I thought it was so much more than it is, whether if it is $1,600, but it doesn't. It seems reasonable for something that's handcrafted and that
Yeah.
big and
It does seem reasonable, but at the same time, like it doesn't have any actual jewelry or
No,
actual
it's true.
precious metals
but
in
you're
it.
paying for the time, my friend. Not-
You're paying for the time and the
The
dedication to it, but is that time and dedication worth $1,000?
I don't know. I
Like,
It's
do I
really
want
up to
do
the
I want
buyer, right?
a new high-end computer or title belt?
Oh,
you pick. But I know you didn't watch much Raw this week, but I wanted to talk about kind of some of the things that did happen. I'm going to start with something that happened in the middle of the show just because I think this is awesome that this happened this week when you guys were coming on the show, and it was the first thing that,
I know what you're bringing up.
that I wrote
I know what you're
down.
bringing up.
Kyle Busch, NASCAR champion 2019, is the WWE 24/7
Was.
champion. Did they change it online this week?
No, he won it back at the end of the show.
Oh, I missed that. I totally missed because I thought about that this week at work. I'm like, did he keep it? I'm like, is he still champ or did they do some online thing? But anyway, I know you didn't know about this, Phil, and I didn't want to tell you at work until we were on the show. But yeah, Kyle Busch, so the champion, the 2019 NASCAR champion, he won the 24/7 title on Raw this week. He was front row with another guy. I can't remember the other guy he was with.
Michael Waltrip.
Okay. And R-Truth was doing his thing. R-Truth was kind of hiding. There was a bunch of commotion. You know how it is with that 24/7 title. I know you've seen it maybe a couple times.
Yeah.
It's the one where they can win it at any time.
As long as there's a
okay.
ref.
As long
they
as there's a
can-
Yeah,
referee,
yeah,
like
yeah.
even if you're sleeping and I walk over to you and go like this and there's a referee there, then I win
Yeah,
because I was covering you. So
Okay,
anyway,
yeah, I've seen highlights from those.
yeah, so he came out and they were in the corner near like where the ring bell is. And then R-Truth was like hiding with Kyle Busch, like Kyle Busch was helping him kind of thing. And then they both walked into the ring area, like the outside the ring. And I'm like, why are they coming into the ring? What's going on? And then he's just like, oh, thanks for your help. And then the one guy what was his name?
Michael Waltrip.
Michael Waltrip started to unzip his sweater, and he was wearing a ref's uniform. And I'm like, oh shit. And then Kyle Busch does the fucking, roll up, grab him from behind and roll him up, 1, 2, 3, and Kyle Busch is the champion. And I'm like, no way.
Wow.
I'm like, how about that? Racing and wrestling coming together here on Monday Night Raw. So
Again, yeah.
I thought that was a big deal. Maybe I can guarantee you that we are probably the only wrestling podcast that started the wrestling news with Kyle Busch winning the 24/7 championship this week on Monday Night Raw. But hey, we're more than just a wrestling podcast here, so we talk about, a lot of things. I think this is the first wrestling thing we've talked about tonight anyway, other than the belt. But what are I know you didn't watch it, but what are some of your thoughts from what you may not have seen with Seth Rollins and Kevin Owens and AOP? Have you seen any of this kind of stuff going on?
I haven't.
Okay, so
the only thing I've seen was Lana and Bobby Lashley getting arrested, but I didn't even watch the segment. I just saw the thumbnail and the title on YouTube, and I'm like, okay.
Yeah, didn't want to click it. I don't blame you. Basically, Seth Rollins turned heel 2 weeks ago, and he's kind of been chirping the crowd very subtly, and then AOP has been kind of beating up Kevin Owens, and and Seth Rollins is kind of acting like, well, this isn't on me. I didn't have anything to do with this, and then they showed up. Long story short, AOP's not beating up Seth Rollins, and we're all trying to figure out why, and Kevin Owens is kind of getting screwed over, and Seth left, and then that's when you seen Bobby Lashley come out in the whole. I don't want to get into all that. Yeah, they got arrested, and it was. I don't care about this Bobby Lashley. Like I listened the first time again tonight. I do it every fucking week, but I listened to Wade Keller's show again, and Bruce Mitchell was talking about this whole storyline and how it's like, okay, in the end, Rusev comes out, he beats Lashley 1, 2, 3, he gets his hand raised. And then what? Lashley gets up off the ground, looks at him, and says, "So what? I fucked your wife," and walks away. Like, how do you win? How do you win?
You don't win
this storyline. You don't. I'm sorry, but pinning him in the middle of the ring for 3 seconds is not justification for the man fucking your wife.
Yeah. Are they gonna do some Eddie Guerrero, Rey Mysterio thing
unquote,
where there's like
obviously
a child and who's gonna be the father of Lana's child? Are they?
I hope not. Lana said this week that Bobby Lashley's the only man that she's ever been with. So it was, but I don't want to spend too much time on it. The only other little thing is she was cutting a promo, and we all know how good Kevin Owens is on the microphone. Dude, if you have the time to go back and maybe just watch that, it would be worth them going back. Just Kevin Owens like, shut up. No one cares what you have to say. It just felt real, and it felt like she was getting pissed. Because she's the kind of, if you've ever watched Total Divas, like she's smoking, but she's a different cat. She's not like all the other girls. Anyway, so she sticks to her guns. So you could tell she was getting irritated by Kevin Owens, like talking over her and maybe not going fully on script and going off script and seeing. You could tell he was trying to see what he could get out of her. You know what I mean?
Reaction.
Exactly. And he's a professional enough that he knows he can go off script and it's fine. So I think he was trying to test the waters and see what he could do with Lana. But, I mean, she's good on the microphone. She's just this storyline. Again, no justification. It doesn't make sense. And him super kicking Lashley while he's, again, quote unquote, arrested or waiting for. There was like cops there. I don't know.
Why were they arrested in the first place?
I have no idea. It made no sense. Rusev's the one who's got the restraining order, apparently, in the state of Tennessee. And he came out and super kicked Lashley and then left. And then all of a sudden, the two cops start to come in the ring to like help Bobby Lashley, and then they're taking their time, like really taking their time, and then Rusev leaves, and then they kind of stop, turn around, and go back to their spot, and then Lashley started getting all mad at them for no reason, and then they're like, they arrested him. Like, okay. And then Lana slapped one of the cops, and then she was just like, I'm sorry, which that, I guess, can justify getting arrested, but it was like, why did he get arrested? It makes no sense. I heard some stuff again on the other shows, and they were talking about how it could be perceived as like a racial storyline in the sense that, oh, let's arrest the black guy because he's dating the blonde chick, and we're in Tennessee, and it's like, whoa, like,
these are real cops. Like,
no.
Okay, so they were scripted then.
Yeah, they were definitely scripted.
I was gonna say, like, what the fuck?
Actors, but in the storyline, Lana has given a restraining order to her ex-husband or whatever, the guy she cheated on, whatever. So he can't come, and he's going to get arrested if he does. But he keeps coming anyway and beating up Lashley. It's just, again, I don't really have a good reason. Maybe there is one, and I'm not remembering it. But a good reason as far as why Lashley was arrested. Lana, again, she smacked the cop.
So is this, all in all, is this a face turn for Rusev?
Oh, definitely. The crowd loves him now.
Okay.
Rusev Day is back, kind of, not quite to where it was before. But yeah, the crowd is behind him. I mean, how are you not behind a guy that's, guy's fucking his wife, man? Like, you got to feel bad for him. Like, it's only human nature, right? But I don't know. The other stuff on the show, I just want to give here one of these right now because they don't do it very often to WWE. But geez, it looks like, and I don't want to speak too soon. Maybe I just did, but it looks like they might actually be pushing Drew McIntyre and into some kind of real storyline. Maybe not with Randy Orton, but he seems to be having squash matches, beating people. He talked to Randy Orton a little bit this week, and then AJ came out because he was all mad about Randy Orton screwing AJ for the U.S. title the week before. So I don't think we're getting I don't think we're getting Randy and McIntyre, but I really hope that they're starting to take McIntyre seriously, man, because this guy's the kind of guy who could be the champion. Like, he can be the Brock Lesnar type champion that shows up every week. And I'm not even against the not showing up every week, but he's good enough that he can be that heel that has a 8-month title reign and people go nuts when the babyface finally beats him at WrestleMania. So, I don't know. Good. I'm happy with that. Aleister Black, Buddy Murphy. This is a feud, like a mid-card, I guess you could call it, feud that they're actually spending 5 weeks building up just two guys having a match.
Okay. It
started 3 weeks ago with Buddy knocking on the door.
Yeah.
I say Buddy, and his name is actually Buddy. Because I didn't mean it like that, but then I realized, I'm like, shit, his name is Buddy. So Buddy was knocking on the door, and then Aleister came out.
You can tell it's a Canadian show.
Yeah, I know, eh?
Yeah, eh?
Anyway, so this feud's been going back and forth. They've been having matches with other people, and I just like the fact that there's no, soap opera Lana Rusev bullshit.
No. It's just a straight, I want to fight you.
Yeah, it's just two really good wrestlers. One of them calls people out, or, says that somebody needs to knock on my door because I want to fight. And then Buddy knocks on his door, literally, Buddy, and knocks on his door, and then now they're going to have a fight, and they're leading up to it. It's not just like all happens within one night.
Yeah.
It's not like he knocked on the door and then 3 hours later or 2 hours later they're fighting. It's leading up to it, and I'm really enjoying. I'm hoping, I don't know.
When's that fight?
Well, this is what I was just going to say. I'm hoping that it's at TLC, and that's a pay-per-view that takes place next Sunday.
Ooh.
That would be ideal.
Yeah.
It would make sense. I mean, they've built it up long enough, I think, at this point that you could put it on a pay-per-view, and I don't know if you need to add some sort of stipulation, but the fact that they're spending this much time on a storyline that doesn't revolve around any championship belts and just revolves around building up two wrestlers is a good sign to me. So I'm happy with that. Only other, I don't know, man. Like, some of this stuff on Raw lately is just, like, the Viking Raiders are just squash matches every week. That's all they do. They won the tag titles, and then now they just squash guys every week, and they have random jobbers come in, and jobbers lose, and Viking Raiders win. And I think they just don't know what to do with them. So it's just like, all right, well,
they haven't known what to do with the tag scene since 2015.
Fair. Yeah, fair. That's probably a good point. But I mean with the Viking Raiders, like, they gave them the belts.
Yeah.
And then I think they were like, all right, you guys got the belts now. Just be a placeholder, I guess, and have some, we're going to keep you strong. You're not going to be losing matches, but you're also not going to be getting wins over anybody significant either. You're beating guys, Phil, I don't know how familiar you are with the jobbers and the squash matches, but these are enhancement talent, they call them, where it would be, let's say they're in Tennessee like they were this week. When they get to Tennessee, they call up the local Tennessee wrestling whatever, and they say, we need 2 guys tonight. Those 2 guys who played the cops could have been wrestlers too. Anytime you see like extras in wrestling, rather than them getting like TV extras, it's usually independent wrestlers.
Like we mentioned before the show, how you were watching old Shawn Michaels stuff, and the guy who super kicked the guy and the papers flew, and he's super kicking all the guys in the hallway. The guy he super kicks, Sean Spears, currently now wrestles at AEW, and he was a former WWE superstar.
Yeah. Okay. So they're usually it's funny when you end up going back.
It's all within the scene then, yeah.
Yeah, but they don't work for WWE. It's kind of like they're
independent. Though.
Yeah.
Like you.
They're treated just like an independent contractor. So it's, I don't know. I don't know why they keep doing that, but I guess it's
filler.
Well, it's filler, but it's also, it gets Viking Raiders on TV without having to have them lose, and it also gets them on TV without having to beat somebody else backstage who you don't want losing, because you want to build that person up too, or that team. But yeah,
I can only assume that maybe they keep doing this because they want to build another team up to be their challenger, like what they did with Braun Strowman when he split from the Wyatt family when they first had the brand split, and he just do squash matches for like the first month or two. And then after a while, people loved the squash matches, and then he became this monster, and they never did anything with it. But you know,
there was a time there, man, and I don't know if it was late 2017, early 2018, but I just remember I'll never forget it, man. I remember watching Raw and just being like, this guy is a champion, like, and he never was, but he should have been. Like, he represented the presence of somebody on a show that was like, this is the guy on this show. He should be the champion. He's the guy that nobody can fuck with on Monday Night Raw.
Yeah.
And then, it ended up getting to the point where he just didn't have that aura around him anymore.
They jobbed him out.
Yeah.
Ironically, to Lesnar.
To Lesnar, yeah, you're right. In the Hell in a Cell?
Like, not only, there was like 3 shows where they jobbed him out to him, but...
Yeah. Oh, no, I keep thinking of the Hell in a Cell when Brock interrupted and fucking ruined the match with him and Roman. My bad. Yeah, sorry. I keep doing that every week, too. I got to work on that. Samoa Joe was like attacking Vic Joseph this week on commentary. And Samoa Joe, if you haven't heard or listened or watched, he's kind of the new commentator. He's filled in more or less for
Dio Madden.
Yes.
Because he's gone back to actually wrestle in NXT.
Oh, no way.
Yes, he's getting back in the ring.
Good for him. So why did this switch? You don't know? No, it's all good. I always thought when you see a guy jump from being a wrestler in NXT and like a Corey Graves, like you see them jump early, that there was a reason, like too many concussions or spine or something that caused them to not go forward. I'm surprised that he would go back after getting attacked by Brock Lesnar. I guess that was like the test.
Well, that's one thing that he's been tweeting about a little bit. Like, he's friends with, like, obviously up, down guys with Xavier Woods. So what up, down Twitter did is they did this like Twitter tweet mashup or whatever, where they took his 2 most popular tweets and put them together. And it was the one where it was Mama didn't raise no bitch when he stood up to Brock Lesnar. Yeah. And then a more recent tweet where he said, Riddle when I want Goldberg, so I guess I'll retire Brock. So they put it together now.
Fuck. Is he using the same name, Dio Madden?
Yes.
As a wrestler? I'm curious to see him in the ring now because I've never seen him in the ring, and I
haven't seen him in the ring either, but I love him as a person, like his not necessarily his character, but him as a person.
Yeah. Just from what you've seen.
Yeah, like looking at him on Twitter and stuff. He's big into video games and like nerd culture and stuff.
It makes me a little bit sad though that Samoa Joe, I guess, like he even said, he made a comment and I kind of shed a tear. He's like, when I was active, like he said that when he was on commentary this week. When I was active. I'm like, oh, does that mean you're not active? I guess so. But there was one point where obviously it was enough that I wrote it down on my little Raw sheet in the sense that he was just attacking Vic Joseph from commentary. But I just don't know if Samoa Joe should be a heel on commentary.
Who's the heel currently on commentary other than Joe?
Well, Jerry, the king. And this week it was Jerry and Joe. And Vic was, that's why I meant. It felt like Vic was getting kind of attacked by the two of them here.
See, when they had too much heel, last time they had too much heel was Michael Cole, and no one liked Michael Cole.
No, but I love Michael Cole, but I never watched heel Michael Cole, so I think that's why I love Michael Cole.
It was just annoying.
Yeah, well, even his match at Mania, it was a waste of a fucking Mania match, him and King. Like, it's cool that they had a match, but that match could have been 5 minutes.
And they had to have Austin be the ref.
Yeah, it was a joke. The only other thing on the show as far as Monday Night Raw went was another 6-man tag to end the show, guys, because we've never seen that before. Let's just throw 6 guys out and, 3-on-3, and these guys are all in the main event picture, and let's just have a 6-man. If we didn't see a 6-man tag for 3 years, I'd be perfectly fine with it. I'm done with these. Like, maybe Survivor Series or, a pay-per-view or something, but it's like, it's just the generic, like, me and you could make a better card main event in SmackDown versus Raw with just a little bit of effort.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't understand.
So is it the wrestlers that they're choosing?
No, it's the fact, to me, it's just lazy. It's like, okay, well, these guys are all kind of involved in the main event storyline, so we're just going to put these 3 guys against these 3 guys, and we don't have to have a definitive finish. We can get messy with people getting disqualified because somebody else runs it. Like, it just... I like singles matches significantly more. Like, I'm not even a big tag match person. I would rather watch 2 people fight every time than 3 on, 1v1v1 or fatal 4-ways, or it's just these, it's the 6-man tags that bug me, and then the fact that they do it so often as the last match in the main event of Raw. We didn't get it 2 weeks ago. We had an amazing match with Kevin Owens and Seth Rollins to get the main event of Raw. Like I talked about on episode 64, how it was a mimic of 3 years later. They did the same thing the night after Survivor Series. They main evented with Kevin Owens and Seth Rollins. But yeah, I'm just done with the 6-man tags. The match itself, like, again, it's not that I thought the match was shit. It was pretty good. It's just I don't need to see any more of these 6-man meaningless matches. The winners, so what? It doesn't mean anything. This is why I love records in AEW, because when somebody loses, they have to think about that's a tick that we're putting on the record.
Another thing that the records actually had is that in AEW situation, they don't have to have the same people perform every week back to back to back that WWE does, because they're trying to continue or build a storyline.
No, that's the only thing I gotta be honest.
They can have a guy like Hangman take a week or two off and not compete and rest up and then come back, because you can have the records, you have this sports aspect
for
to
sure.
it.
Yeah, and the record, when they're thinking about, like, when you're sitting backstage and you're thinking about, match outcomes, you have to think more, because you have to think about that tick, like I said, or whatever, the number being there and mattering forever, or for however long as these records are a thing in AEW. But I got to be honest, the one thing that AEW, in my opinion, hasn't done the greatest is they have gone to the well a lot with some of the same guys, but I think that's just because they only have access right now to a certain amount of people.
Yeah, they do it. Yeah, that is one thing, but they are slowly building. Like, they had the new tag team. They had a new tag team debut.
They did. I can't remember the name. I didn't watch the show.
The Butcher
last
and
week.
the something.
I'm not sure. It's okay. It's okay. I just don't want to, because I'm not gonna.
Mhm.
It's not gonna come to me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But yeah, the OC, man. The last thing about that 6-man tag, just their entrance music and their new entrance is so fucking good. Like, the music, you would love it. It's just really hardcore. I don't know what you would even. It's so different than AJ's music, and then I hated the Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows music from before. It's just so different, I think, is the best word. It's like no other music in WWE, as far as I can.
I disagree.
Whose would you compare it to?
Most of the generic themes or heel themes, I feel. Like, I feel like there's this, at least in the past year or so, where most wrestling themes, if you're a bad guy, has kind of been turned to metal, and I feel like that's kind of what NXT's been doing a lot with, like, they've been opening their shows with metal songs.
Yeah, that
like
I
the
can
Io
agree with.
Shirai coming out to some more metal stuff, and
I don't agree on the main roster, man. I got to be honest with you. I don't at all.
Maybe a bit less on the main roster. I'll give you that.
Because
but
I
still get the feeling
can't think of a
that
wrestler, sorry to cut you off, that has like screaming, like loud, that type of singing in their entrance music. I can't think of one.
Yeah, there's not really any on the main roster, no, but it does feel like that a metal theme song is starting to become a little bit more mainstream now.
I think that's the NXT in you, because I just don't watch as much NXT, but I noticed that in the NXT that I do watch is that they've become very, like, they changed the music. The music that represents TakeOver would never represent TLC nowadays. It's not like it used to be. To TLC music is, I don't know, some Pitbull or some shit like that. You know what I mean? Something more.
It's all about the green light.
Oh, fuck. But it's a little more mainstream, I guess. And,
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I love their music.
Speaking of
I love
theme
their
music and a standpoint, one thing I did see, Sheamus returning.
I did. Yeah.
He's got the actual spiky hair back that he had when his first run.
Well, yeah, he basically looks like he did in the first run. They had a good little. It was like with white light behind him, and you could kind of just see his silhouette.
Mm-hmm.
My confusion is, though, I thought he was getting out of the wrestling because of his spine and slowly having less matches. I'm very, very, very surprised that he's back, to be honest.
It could be that retirement run. You never know.
That's possible, too.
Mark Henry had that, you know.
And we are getting to the Rumble Mania season. This would be the time to do that if they are going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a good point. I forgot to bring up
the
Sheamus
reason
thing.
I bring up his theme is because his first theme was actually really damn good.
Not the one that he had.
Not the one he has now. The one he had when he first debuted.
Yeah, see, I don't know if I remember that one as well. I'd have to hear it.
It's actually really good. That if you listen to the lyrics, it's actually pretty damn dark.
I don't hate the one that he has either.
I don't hate. No, the one he has now is good. But it's just, you go back, listen to the first song, and it's one of those things where it's once you hear it, it's like, I kind of want to listen to it again. And then you listen to it again. The more you hear it, the better it gets.
Like, is it the kind of song you could listen to outside of wrestling?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's an old Jim Johnson song, so it's an actual... I think Jim Johnson wrote it, and then someone else performed it. So it's kind of like Batista's theme in that sense.
Okay, yeah.
But yeah,
Which
it's like an actual...
Saliva, right?
Yeah. It's like an actual song you could listen to.
Fair enough. I might have to go check that out. But yeah, Sheamus is coming back, and then the only other thing is that top rope... I know I've said that 7 times, the only other thing. But that top rope Styles Clash, I've seen it before, but it's a wicked move, man. I wish I had a video to show Phil right now, because AJ's finisher, I can't explain it to you, but he does this thing called the Styles Clash, and for him to do it off the top rope, it's just a devastating move. You know, as soon as you see it in general, you're probably not going to see a kick out, but when you see it off the top rope, you're definitely not going to see a kick out on that move, because it's just
one of those.
Yeah, and it's also one of the ones where this is very inside baseball wrestling. It's not that I know for any, because I'm not a wrestler, but I just mean it's very opposite, because when you're in wrestling and you're training to be a wrestler, the biggest thing you have to just drill into your brain is tuck your chin. When you hit the mat, tuck your chin. Because if you don't tuck your chin, you hit your head and you get a concussion. So you always want to have, and you watch them. Watch anytime you see them hit the mat, their arms are extended and their chin is tucked. With that move, if you tuck your chin, you're breaking your fucking neck because of the way your body is positioned. I'll show you after the show. I don't want to try and do it on audio. But the way you're positioned, if your head is pointed down and your chin is to your chest,
it's like this.
It's like this. The back of your head is going to hit the mat.
No, at the front, it's like the top of your head.
Exactly, the top of your head. And if it's the other way, then you're like this, and your stomach hits the mat first rather than your back. Yeah. So I'll show you a video, but anybody who knows the Style Clash understands what I'm saying. But for you, I just wanted to kind of explain that aspect of that.
I'll have to look it up.
Yes, sir. How about John Morrison?
Yes, Joe Mo is back.
Joe Mo, I've never heard that.
You've never heard that?
That's a new one. No, where is that? Is that like
that was when he back in like 2011?
In WWE.
Yeah, I forget who said it on commentary. It was either Booker T or someone on commentary, and they're John Morrison was coming to the ring. And it's like, it's Joe Mo for show.
Oh man, yeah. Me and Donovan call him Johnny Everything.
Yeah,
because his name was like
it changes no matter where.
Johnny Nitro, Johnny Wrestling. Not Johnny Wrestling.
Johnny Impact.
Johnny Impact. Depending on what company he's in, he kind of changes his last name. So for a while, we were just calling him Johnny Everything because he was all over the place. What was he in Lucha? Mundo. Johnny Mundo.
Yeah, Johnny Mundo.
Which was my favorite. I wish to Is Lucha Underground still on Netflix?
I have no idea if it's still on Netflix. No, I have no idea. I
know look it up.
I know it went under. It's no longer a thing though.
Oh yeah, I knew that. But if it's there and you can find it and you're like, go and see if you can find Lucha Underground, because it's
Lucha.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like this wrestling show that's shot like a TV show.
It's like, super cinematic.
Like when they do the backstage segments, it looks like a movie.
Oh.
It doesn't look like, hey, how do you feel about your match tonight?
Yeah.
Like it's I don't know. It's interesting.
It's like when they cut to two bad guys talking. It's like it's in a dark alley and the camera's kind of off. To
it's
the
like
side.
a movie. It looks like it's like a TV show, except for the fights are settled in the ring.
Oh, okay.
It's very different and interesting.
Yeah, it's not like right there and then. It's kind of like they're hiding away, watching what's going to be happening, kind of like the cameraman I'm talking about.
Kind of, yeah. Sometimes, yeah.
Yeah, like that. But it's even more so like you're supposed to act like the camera's not there.
Okay.
Like when you're watching any other TV show.
So it's not. Yeah. Okay.
And then John Morrison re-signs. I just wanted to obviously bring it up. This kind of happened the day we're recording, so it's news. It's in the news, and I don't know. I remember Eminem, the group Eminem, him and
what I remember is like a couple of weeks ago that someone said that John Morrison was re-signing with WWE.
You're right.
And then John Morrison was on Twitter like, "Are you sure? You might want to check your facts." And then couple weeks later, here we are.
We are. Well, maybe he wasn't yet. Maybe he still had some dates and shit that he needed to fulfill outside of WWE, and then once that was done, then he could...
It's kind of dumb when you say go up to someone who's like, he's probably going to resign or has signed. You're like, no, I'm not. You might want to check your sources, and then you just resign and doing your entire argument or point.
Do you think, though, and I'm just playing the devil's advocate, do you think that has something to do with the fact that he maybe couldn't say that?
Possibly, yeah.
Like, because I was recently watching an interview with Ewan McGregor, who plays Obi-Wan Kenobi in Star Wars, and he was talking about how he knew that he was playing Obi-Wan in this new Obi-Wan Kenobi show, Kenobi, but he couldn't say anything. And he hated it so much because he's like, I sounded desperate. He's like, I kept saying when I was at conventions and stuff, oh yeah, like if they call me, I would love to do it. Like it would be something that I'd be very interested in. Hopefully they call me. He's like, I was out there making it seem like they were even considering somebody else, because they're obviously not. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I'm just trying to think maybe that had something to do where WWE was like, hey, we want to drop this, because I saw that it was Fox Sports, whatever, even though WWE gives them the information. So fucking stupid. Fox Sports broke the news. Maybe it was that. Maybe it was like, okay, we're with Fox now. You're going to go to SmackDown. We want to break the news via Fox Sports 1 or FS1. don't say anything until this date because we want
100%.
we want to release it under
FS1. I kind of wished I didn't announce it, and it was one of those he's back at the Royal Rumble kind of things, right? Because that's only like what 2 months away.
Yeah, beginning of January usually. Is when
I feel like
you'll have to come over for that.
I feel like I could have waited 2 months.
Both of you guys will have to come.
Number
over.
30 in the Royal Rumble. It's John Morrison.
30? I don't know about that, but
25.
Yeah, I just mean I don't think you'd be getting the reaction for John Morrison right now. Like 30 right now should be like if he wasn't champion, it should be someone like The Fiend. Somebody who's gonna get.
As long as he has that theme he had when he left.
John Morrison?
Yeah.
And the slow-mo and the and the air.
Listen, this ain't no make-believe.
Oh man, his entrance is insane. He does this.
And then they slow down the camera.
They slow down, they add slow-mo, and they add like...
And all the pyros in slow-mo, and everyone, if he's like with coming out with someone, they do slow-mo. But the commentary is in real time, and they're like, how does he go slow-mo like that?
It's I don't know. It'll be interesting to see him back, and I don't know what they're going to do with him. Like, I don't see him getting a main title run at any time soon. Maybe he's going to, keep the Intercontinental U.S. title divisions. I don't know.
Yeah.
He's athletic as fuck, and the guy can wrestle amazing, and he's a decent actor, too. So
when
all the credit to him.
When are you going to see him fight for the first
They did
time?
not say.
They didn't say. They just said that he's officially signed. We may get something, I would say, if I had to guess, we'll get something where backstage we'll be watching SmackDown, and then all of a sudden the camera will pan backstage, and it'll be John Morrison kind of maybe getting ready. Or we'll get a thing where his music hits and he'll come out to the ring for the first time.
Do a little promo, I guess.
I would imagine it's one of the two. I could totally see the thing where it's like he's not talking to the camera. They just like show him like taping up his hands, and they're like, next, John Morrison. It says up next, and then go to commercial, come back, and then he comes out. Again, I don't know. But maybe I watch too much fucking WWE and I'm writing the show at this point. Is there anything else you wanted to get into? I had one question for Will, but if there's anything you wanted to talk about as far as the pro wrestling side of things.
Not really. Nothing on top of my
I
head
know
right
your
now.
YouTube stuff has been...
Oh, buddy, my YouTube? I'll show you after, Will, but you can open my YouTube now. Like probably, okay, let's say 2 months ago, before these podcasts, my YouTube was... probably Counter-Strike, game updates, new games here and there.
Maybe a mechanic video, Honda Tech video.
Random car videos and stuff. But now I can open it. I can guarantee you I can scroll not even down half the page and there will be wrestling. Something to do with wrestling. Either throwbacks or top 10 moments or something. And it's like, okay, that's how I found out about the John Morrison coming back. Open YouTube and I'm like, oh, 38 minutes ago. That's going to be talked about tonight.
Oh, yeah. Like I saw the news, but I had already done my notes for the show. So thank you, Phil, because you were the one who were like, are we going to talk about the John Morrison? I'm like, yeah, we probably should. So you can thank Phil for
Same thing about the Fiend, That's how I saw the belt and I was like, holy fuck, this is what we were talking about.
You brought it up to me at work.
They're listening to the show, guys.
I've always said that.
They know.
There's too many times that the shit we talk about pops up.
Who's that out the window?
But Will, AEW. I asked this to Dawn last week. I just thought because not that there's no milestone. It's not any reason why I'm asking this question as far as AEW goes. But just from the time that we've kind of seen the beginnings of it, let's call it Double or Nothing, to now. Do you have a few guys or a guy that kind of jumps out to you specifically that is like, these guys have stood out to me more? No, let me just clarify. Not necessarily like this is the top guy in the company, because I think right now we all kind of know that's probably Jericho. But just someone to you maybe that's like, this guy has stood out from the pack.
They've stood out like they're going to be a future champion?
Could be, or even just they are right now, but... Jericho's kind of a given. Obviously, I know you can say Jericho.
There's so many guys that you could say are givens for that. Like MJF is a given.
I wouldn't say there's so many. I wrote 4 last week. MJF was one of them.
Yeah, MJF, definitely. There's big things for him. Darby at some point. I don't know if it's going to be this year, next year, 5 years, but Darby's definitely over. People love him.
Yep.
Luchasaurus.
That's a good one I wouldn't have thought of.
Yeah, because like when he came back after, I think he had like a slight tear or something in a hamstring, and he came back, the pop on him was huge. Like he's super over with the AEW crowd.
I think he was on the TV when me and you watched the show post-recording last time you guys were here, and I asked you, I'm like, who is that? And you told me, and I'm like, oh, okay, because I knew the name, but I didn't know. I guess it makes sense because he kind of looks like a dinosaur, his mask and shit. But yeah, I said Pac, Dean. Well, I keep calling him Dean. Pac, John, Cody, and Jericho.
Well, all those guys, you see,
those are the four for me, the pillars that are keeping that company.
Okay.
Right now.
Yeah. If you said pillars, yes, most of them, yeah. But I thought you meant like people we saw.
I mean, like standouts, basically, kind of. But the only reason I made that comment about Jericho is because, like, I mean, it's a given. Like, he's
yeah. But yeah, I have to agree there that they're those guys are what they're basing their main product on. That is their main event scene.
Mm-hmm.
What I kind of listed was like the Shawn Michaels when he was fighting for the Intercontinental Championship.
Yep, good example. No, and those are all people. Hangman, I think you said, right? Darby, those guys. MJF, and even I shouted him out last week. But again, Younger was shouting out Sammy Guevara to me like 2 fucking years ago. He was saying, "Oh, you got to watch this guy on PWG. He's so good." And it's like, holy shit, here we are.
Yeah. I didn't think Sammy was that good. I thought he was going to be a lower mid card, if not upper mid card, given the right storyline. But no, they put him in the inner circle, and he's owning it.
One last thing, just because I need some explanation, and I've seen 60 memes about it. What is this hugging, him and Jericho hugging each other, and why is that like plastered everywhere? Have you not seen it? You're looking at me. You're like, you're not
I've
sure.
seen the hugging, but I didn't think it was a meme. I know the bubbly was a meme, but I didn't think.
I just keep seeing like pictures, like the picture of Joker walking down the stairs. Everybody keeps making memes.
Yeah.
Like I seen a picture of like Jericho and they're hugging each other, like photo cropped and put there, and it's Jericho. I should go on my Instagram and find it, but Jericho posted like 6 or 7 memes in a row. Man, I don't know, memes. What do you call them? Whatever, pictures, photoshopped shit. I don't know. What's his Instagram?
I have no idea.
Jesus. All the
probably Chris Jericho.
No, it's I think it's something Fozzy. That's why. Yeah, it is. I got to show you this. It's crazy. Right here. Look, so there's the Joker one.
Yeah.
And then like there's like falling off the cell and they're sitting there watching, and then like they're sitting like I don't get it. Like what's
what the fuck?
It's like it's in the Fiend match with Seth and like I don't know. I thought maybe you'd know. Like everywhere. So
I think this is Jericho being Jericho.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's a meme because I look at the Reddit a lot and I haven't seen it on there. Like the bubbly took off. I was all over Twitter and on Reddit. I haven't seen that take off.
Not only was it just on Twitter and Reddit, did you see what he did?
Yeah, he launched an actual bubbly.
This guy he made a champagne company called Little Bit of Bubbly.
Oh my god.
So now he's selling. You can go to littlebitofbubbly.com and buy a bottle of Little Bit of Bubbly.
How much is it?
I'm not sure, but it's a license to print money is what it is. Because I'm pretty sure he said went back order like twice. So I don't know. It's guys buying lots of bottles and hoping that they're going to be worth something one day, which some of them will, and hopefully good.
Yeah.
I don't know.
If it was a limited supply, maybe, yeah.
Well, I don't know if it's something that he's going to, now he's starting a company and he's going to start growing grapes, or if he's just buying bulk sparkling wine.
Dude's like, what, 40 something, 48 something, and he's
wine.
just hitting arguably just hitting his prime.
Yeah, I've said it on probably, it was back in the 20s of episodes, but he's one of those guys that I just don't think gets the full credit / respect because he's still going. Once Jericho stops, I really think people are going to step back and be like, yo, like, I think we need to chisel his name on Mount Rushmore too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just because he's been in every fucking era since, Jushin Liger in the early 90s all the way to now, Chris Jericho he is the GOAT. I mean, they call him the GOAT, and Don told me about the segment where fucking Jack Swagger was bringing out the GOAT. They had a GOAT backstage, and they were like trying to bring it out to the ring to bring it to him. I wish I saw that live, but I don't know. All good stuff from the world of pro wrestling this week, eh? Anything else from you guys?
I gotta start watching more.
Hey, that's what I like to hear. We got the YouTube, though, so we've done something.
The YouTube.
All right, we know what that means.
F1?
Time for the F1 update. We're
Formula
here.
Uno.
Formula 1. As, what's his
If
name?
it was Formula E, would it be?
Juan.
If it was Formula E, would it be Formula
I was just about to say, what is French for E? But it is and that's how Jean Girard would say it. I can tell you that much.
Formula E.
But yeah, before we get into it too deep here, I want to let everybody know, I talked about it a little bit last week. I previewed it kinda, sorta, a little bit. 2 weeks from today, 2 weeks, so episode 66, I guess, or no, 67 it will be. We're going to do a special F1 roundup, F1 update F1 2019 year in review, basically, is what we're going to do with the three of us, myself, Phil, Will, the Phil and Will
duo
connection.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
That's our tag team name. There you go.
There you go.
Will and Phil connection. Nice. I like that.
We're probably going to give you maybe our top 5 moments of the season and some of our favorite things throughout the year, best race maybe as well, I'm not sure, but we'll get into some of that and then maybe preview what to come in the future. I haven't fully decided. I'm kind of debating. We'll see. Maybe get at me. How about somebody, if you're not interested in this, send me a DM and then I'll know. Because if I don't hear anything, then we'll go forward with it. We're thinking that that's going to be an all F1 update episode. So that episode will be roundtable, start to finish, F1 update. Just a one-time thing. I think it's something cool that we can look back on as we do at the Look Back in years and say, this is the 2019 season of Formula One. Let's hear what we had to say back in 2019. So whether it's for us or for the listeners, either way, I don't know. I enjoy doing this show. So
yep.
That's at the end of the day, like as many people as we appreciate listen every week and download and who have downloaded maybe from day one or from last week. I always appreciate it, but I'm here because this is fun to do with you guys and it's an enjoyable experience and I hope somebody else gets something out of it because that's what made me want to do podcasts in the first place was me listening to so much podcasts and getting things out of it and wanting to do that for somebody else. So if I can do that for somebody else and you guys can help and Donovan, then we've succeeded. But yeah, the F1 update for this week will just be the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. Can't even speak, eh? Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. And yeah, get our thoughts on this. I wanted to change it up maybe a little bit. We'll get some thoughts about the race at the beginning and then maybe go through it kind of lap by lap-ish. Go from there. But right off the bat, did you guys think it was a decent race? Good race?
Right off the bat, I knew Lewis was going to win.
On turn 2? 1?
Lights out and away we go. Oh, Lewis wins.
And does that disappoint? Does that disappoint you, Phil?
I can't say it disappoints me. It was kind of just like a knowing factor that, yeah, he's fucking gone.
We had the pace this weekend.
Yeah, you definitely had the pace.
Being a fan of, I don't want to say we, but
You sell out.
So.
I just like Lewis, man. But I've said it to my mom, actually, asked me 2-3 weeks ago. She's like, what would you do if he went to Ferrari? I'm like, I'm too deep now, Mom.
I'm in deep.
I'm in deep now.
I'm in deep, he says, head to toe in Mercedes.
Yeah, it's Mercedes now. Even if it was Bottas and Ocon, that's my team. I can't. I'm that kind of guy. When I've committed to something of that nature, I'm not. Who knows? Maybe in 10 years, if Mercedes,
Ocon and George Russell.
Oh, that would be awesome. Those are my second and third favorite drivers on the fucking grid for 2020. So.
Well, Russell did just finish testing in the Mercedes.
Oh yeah, and I think he's this weekend.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because he did it after Abu Dhabi. You're right, the tire test in Abu Dhabi. I said it. I probably I don't know when it was, but if Bottas doesn't, finish second right behind Lewis or win the championship, then I'm sorry, but I think that's Russell's seat in 2021.
Potentially.
I don't think Bottas would be leaving the sport.
Give it to Latifi.
At that point. Oh, man. Should we talk about that? Let's open with that.
Yes.
Let's open with that before we even dive into the race. 2 Canadians in Formula One, boys.
Only one matters,
you need the Canadian theme.
I don't have it. I was thinking about that. Trust me, I was thinking about it, but I have one that kind of fits. How about good for you, Latifi?
You've taken your first step into a larger world.
That one works.
Yeah,
I watched that movie this week. Anytime I watch the movie now and I hear that.
When don't you watch Star Wars?
When he's listening to it.
Yeah. There you go. I like that. I actually listened to all 3 this week too. But anyway. Yeah, Latifi, second Canadian in F1, first in a while, but, we had one Lance there, but I just mean first time we've had 2 maybe ever. I don't even.
Yeah, this is the first time we've ever had 2 Canadians simultaneously in
on the
Formula
grid.
1.
Yeah, wow.
I think that's the third and fourth. I think we had Gilles, who was the first.
Yeah.
His son Jacques, and then Lance was the third, and now Latifi is the fourth.
Yep.
And you know what? Now that I think, when was it announced? Was it last Thursday? Because I may have talked about it last week on the show, and the fact, because I remember talking about the fact that we weren't going to hear anything about it from the Canadian media because they could give 2 fucks about Formula One.
You're right. It was Thursday.
Yeah, I think I talked about it with Donovan briefly in the 10 minute F1 update that I do when you guys aren't here. But yeah, it's amazing. I'm hoping this guy does well. He's Canadian. He's been doing really good testing at Mercedes or at Williams.
I remember watching him race karts here in Canada at Mosport.
That's crazy.
AC Casey. I remember watching him win DD2.
How do you know his age? Off the top of your head?
Off the top of my head, I think they said he was like 23.
Okay, that makes sense.
No. 25, something like that. 24.
Either way, so
early 20s.
Because that's what I was going to say. Like, he's younger than myself and Phil, but he's a little bit older than like a Max Verstappen, which is your age, right?
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Interesting, I guess. Like, you've had guys lately coming in a lot younger than that. You know what I mean? With Lando Norris and Albon and Verstappen and Charles Leclerc. Guys that are a lot younger than that breaking in. So, it took him a little bit longer. But I just like the fact that, I mean, say what you want about Stroll, but like, this guy's not here just because of money. Yes, he's there because of money too. Don't get me wrong. Latifi's got lots of money.
They own Sofina.
Yeah,
his parents own Sofina Foods.
Yeah, they're exactly. But he's not there because of that. Whereas I have said for years, at least at the beginning, and especially more now than at the beginning, like that's why Lance Stroll is there.
Oh, 100%.
He checked off all the boxes. He got all his racing points. No, fuck. No pun intended, but he checked the boxes to get to Formula One. But I don't think he should be there. It's sad, man. Hulkenberg's got to go, and we have to keep Stroll.
Yeah.
I mean, I have a friend in ARC who also races karts over in Europe.
Yes.
And he's actually he raced at a high level, like top 10 in Europe.
Wow.
And like
shout out to him.
In like the KZ class, the shifter kart. So, and he says he's raced against Lance Stroll. And the difference between Lance Stroll and every other competitor is when Lance Stroll shows up to a karting race, he's not going to the Best Western down the street or whatever. He's going to the 5-star hotel where he's got all of his dinner and all of his meals paid for him. He shows up in his big trailer with his karts. He's got that money to bankroll him. He doesn't have that experience that some of the guys like. I mean, Latifi's had money, and I can attest that he's shown up with money. And I'm sure when he has to go overnight for a race, he's staying in that 5-star hotel. But
for sure,
at least Latifi, I can vouch for personally by experiencing it. He has a bit of that. He's experienced the grassroots.
Yeah, sorry. I was just gonna say on track, like clout, like he can do it on track as well. Yeah. He's not just there because he can afford to be there.
Yeah, Lance Stroll, it just kind of felt like karting. To Lance Stroll was kind of like formality.
Don't get me wrong, like I don't know how Lance Stroll did in his upbringing of racing career.
Oh, he was like he wouldn't have been if he wasn't successful.
Exactly.
But then there's the question of, and I can already tell you the answer, but it's the question of how much is a success acute to him being good. And how much of it is because they spent more money than everyone else.
And he had the better car all the way up, growing up. I just don't want to take away from some of his talent. And I'm just comparing it to like something like the NHL where every guy that plays in the NHL, even the shittiest guy out there, was the best guy in his town growing up. So it's like I don't want to take away from Lance Stroll still having some talent.
Yeah.
Like he can still drive a Formula One car. He's podiumed.
Yeah.
His race pace has certainly gotten better in the last year. He just can't qualify very well, and I think he could fit an IndyCar fine.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean. It's just Formula One is supposed to be the 20 best drivers in the world. Hypothetical, or what's the word? Maybe not hypothetical, but ideally you'd want the best in the world. You still get your Strolls and your Grosjeans mixed in there, but I don't know. Maybe this is how Formula One is, right?
It's been like that for years at this point.
Yeah.
Decades.
So Abu Dhabi, we might as well get into it now. Do you want me to run down the list of finishers in the top 10, or do you want to? How do you guys want to do it? I'm open to.
Lewis wins, lol.
I already said that.
You guys, eh? You guys.
Okay. Am I wrong?
All right. So we had Hamilton in first, Verstappen in second, Leclerc in third, Bottas in fourth, Vettel in fifth, Albon in sixth, Perez in seventh, Norris in eighth, Kvyat in ninth, and Sainz in 10th. I'll stop there with the top 10. How about Leclerc keeps his podium?
Yeah, that was. I was gonna ask that question. What was exactly going on with that? With his whole fuel being higher.
What I heard before I came to the show here was that I think it was in qualifying. Before they qualify, they have to, or before the race, was it?
Yeah, it was before the race.
Before the race, they have to state how much fuel they're putting into the car to do everything, like even the out laps, the formation laps, and everything like that. They have to state how much fuel is going into the car.
Tell the FIA, basically.
And they said under. They said less.
Basically, they set a number for their car. Our car has X amount of fuel, and then they don't check every car. It's because it would take too long.
You don't have the time.
But it's a random check, just like in drug tests in sports or stuff like that. So they, I guess, randomly checked Ferrari, and what was in the car did not match up with what Ferrari had told them. So there
Only
was,
Leclerc or Vettel too? Did they check?
as far as I know, just Leclerc, because he was the only one that was in question prior
Why
to the race
was-
starting.
Okay, so if this is like a random spot check, why did they single out Ferrari? Why did they single out Leclerc?
It's just like
don't
it's just like when they come into the pits and the lights on and they have to go to the weighbridge. Like it's random. You know what I mean? They don't have a choice as far as if
And
they
it
can
was-
or it's like
it
when
was-
Vettel had
and
to
it
go
was-
last year in the weighbridge in qualifying, and he ended up breaking the weighbridge because he was so fucking pissed. He slammed on the gas to drive away from the weighbridge and broke it because he wanted to get out there because he was losing time, like to be qualifying. I just mean that's how random it could be, is that they could call you
The
at any
issue
time.
in question, though, was that it had, I think it was 4.88 kilograms more fuel in it than what they had stated.
Mhm.
But they were still within spec of the one. What was it, 110 liters of fuel that
Yeah,
they're
see,
allowed to use?
I just wasn't 100% on the numbers. I just knew what
They
was
were
being-
within the round of regulation of fuel that they're allowed to use. It's just they had more in the tank than what they said they were going to use.
yes.
And it's
So-
not by a small margin, even though Ferrari said it was just a numbers miscalculation.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't.
So all
But at the end of the day, what is that really affecting? It's weight, speed. So how could that be
well, I can tell
an
you
advantage? I guess you could say.
I don't know what this meant, and we can get to it as much as we want in the lap by lap too. But I have it on lap 21. Vettel's engine, like the radio, they came on. His engineer came in and they said, "We need you to go to engine 4 MK1." And Vettel goes, "Why?"
Oh, I remember that. Yeah.
And they're like, "Because we need to." And that was it. And it was like, does that have anything? I wonder if that has anything to do in the same, same realm, same conversation as what was going on with Leclerc's car. I have no idea. I know that was something that they, on lap 21, they said,
I wish I knew what the different engine modes meant.
well, yeah, but
They're
it's all codes.
They're all code talk.
It's all. They even have codes. I don't know who it was, whether it was George Russell or Lando Norris. It was Lando Norris, and it was in the Sky. He was breaking down the race with Sky on the Sky pad. It was awesome, and he actually was the one doing. Like they brought it over, and Anthony Davis is like, he's like, wait, watch this, and he hits a button, and then the little the thing goes to the other side of the screen, so Lando can do it.
Oh.
And Lando was doing it, and why did I bring this up?
The
Engine code.
Oh
engine
yeah,
code
because
stuff.
Lando made a thing. He's like, that was code. I was saying one of my codes basically to say I was good to come in the pit. So I think they have codes for like,
Oh, yeah, everything.
like they could say like, my inner left tire's soft, and that means I'm coming in the pits. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
stuff
yeah.
like that. So when he said that, I never even really thought that
I
they
guess
could have.
they'll have certain phrases that will mean certain things.
Because they know it gets broadcasted over the radio and every little teams can hear it. And I guarantee you, we're only hearing a fraction of what they're actually saying.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Well, that's the other thing too, is that the people that control F1 choose when certain messages get. It's not like when you hear the message.
It's not live. No.
That's
I know
what's
that.
getting. Yeah, I hate when they'll do it. Oh, that's from a lap ago. Or
Oh
two.
yeah, that was when he was in the pit.
It's like, well, then why?
Why the fuck am I listening?
Yeah, I don't understand that either.
But
Come on, you guys got to talk when I'm taking a drink. You can't just sit here and watch me take a drink.
What do you mean?
Anyway,
But I mean, back to the fuel thing. I think it's not necessarily an issue that they're in a disadvantage. It wasn't a position penalty. It was a fine. They got $50,000 fine.
Oh yeah. Which is pocket change for Ferrari.
Oh
so
yeah. Well, how much do they make in like the historical team thing that
I-
they get?
I
oh
want to say billion.
no, he means like they get extra money because of the oldest team in Formula One.
Oh,
Like-
you mentioned that. to
Yeah,
me,
yeah, they get extra, but I think that's going to go in 21 too. I would imagine. I don't know, but
Fucking-
they're the only ones that said no. We don't want this 2021 regulations. Like
It's Ferrari. They say no to everything that they don't like.
yeah,
Yeah, that's true.
they said no, but
That they threaten to leave F1, but they know that if they leave F1, that is their entire advertising budget gone because that's the only way they advertise cars is racing.
yeah, but they race in other.
Ferrari needs Formula One more than Formula One needs Ferrari.
Oh, that's a good way to put it.
I don't fully agree with that, and I'm not even a Ferrari fan.
If
Your
Like,
dad,
I don't
your
think-
dad would be disappointed right now.
No, he would be happy. I think F1 needs Ferrari quite a bit. Maybe not as much as Ferrari needs F1, but I still think that F1 needs Ferrari. I think if Ferrari left F1, that's a big hit. That's a lot of red that
I'm not saying it wouldn't be. I'm not saying nothing would happen. It would definitely be a big hit, but Ferrari needs to be in Formula One more than Formula One needs Ferrari. It's
fair, and that is all that you said. I think I was taking it out to be a little like skewed like one way or the other, but you are right. That is what you said. So it's not as big of a thing for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I get what you mean, but they threatened to leave so many times before just because the rule changes didn't suit them, and
they have.
I don't know if it's just. I don't want to sound kind of rude. I don't know if that's just the Italian in them, or if that's just the way that they hire the employees. They want to hire employees with that certain mentality.
Yeah, well, I know they like to hire within. I listened to the Bernie Eccleston interview today with him on Beyond the Grid, and he was talking about how bringing John Todd into Ferrari back in 2002, or no, it was earlier, late 90s, how they kind of needed somebody, and I am Italian, but somebody who wasn't Italian to be running the team. You can't, because just the mentality, it was good to have an outsider, somebody who isn't brought up with Ferrari like in their blood. You can see things that maybe some of the diehard...
Like what Niki Lauda when he tries the car in the
exactly.
movie Rush. And
Yeah.
Like, how's the car? It's like, it's a shitbox. Like, you can't say that. It's a Ferrari.
It understeers.
Yeah. We've talked about that, I think the three of us definitely before. But yeah, we'll go back to the top 10, I guess. Top 4, top 6, whatever you guys want to get into. But I brought up to Phil this week, or today, that I thought it was cool that the quote-unquote number 1 drivers for each of the teams, the top 3 teams, Lewis, Max, and Leclerc finished 1, 2, 3. And then the quote-unquote number 2 drivers for each team finished 4, 5, 6 with Valtteri, Leclerc. I have it right in front of me. I should just look. Vettel and Albon.
So you're saying Vettel's a number 2 driver?
To Ferrari.
To Ferrari, yeah, he doesn't feel that way, but he has to go the way of Michael Schumacher.
I always thought he was the primary, I guess you could say.
You'd think
6 months ago, sure.
Oh, you think
8 months ago. But after he just got beat by Leclerc.
4-time world champion, you'd think you'd be number 1 driver, but, I mean, Leclerc's kicking your ass.
And trust me, like, I like Vettel as far as, like, me being a fan of a driver. I like Vettel a lot more than I like Leclerc, but I'm not, like, not to say, because I don't imply that, but I'm not stupid enough. I know you weren't thinking this, but I'm not stupid enough to think that like Vettel's better than Leclerc this season. I mean, Leclerc had more poles than anyone.
Yeah, no, absolutely, especially for being that young.
Yeah.
And mistakes that Vettel has made.
Yeah.
Well, that too. And then the future of Ferrari, like you said, being so young, I'm sure they are thinking what's the future of our team, not necessarily.
I mean, it's quite possible Lance Stroll could go to Ferrari.
What?
His dad has Ferrari ties.
Yeah, I know. Didn't he race for Ferrari Academy? No, they would never, man. They would. You're getting Giovinazzi or Kimi back in that seat.
I mean, yeah, but I mean, most likely, yeah, they would take them, but his dad does have Ferrari ties. I think his dad was like a Ferrari dealership here in Canada. That's where he made most of his money.
I think you're right.
So he has ties with the big boys at Ferrari.
And he raced in the academy. Like when that
he
major
was a Ferrari Academy driver.
That he had. Have you guys seen his F3 crash? Have you ever seen that?
No.
Oh, he had a huge shunt in fucking F3. Flipped it. I want to say it was at Monza. We should look it up. But and he was his car was red. Like it was the similar looking car of like Mick Schumacher as far as the livery and shit. But yeah, I thought that was cool that the top 3 were separated by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Not only the top 6 teams or top 6 drivers, but kind of the separation of the superior top 3 and then the other top 3. Valtteri, amazing fucking drive, P20 to P4.
Yeah, that
Mercedes was flying.
Yep. Well, look at Lewis.
Well,
he had the pace, so clearly Bottas could have had the pace too.
For sure. That car, I mean, I showed you before we hit record how many lap times that car has been fastest lap time since day one all the way to now, or since 2014 day one. I mean, in the hybrid era.
Yeah, that was very interesting, especially with the fact that he had no DRS for a bit, right? The beginning of that.
Yeah, well, we're jumping all over. I don't know how to.
It's all over the place for a boring race.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
DRS. Well, let's just talk about it now. DRS was disabled.
Honestly,
on
there
lap
was still
4.
no reasoning why though.
On lap 4.
No reasoning why.
What do you think? What do you think?
Well, I'll just say what Toto Wolff said. I guess someone just upstairs in the room by accident kicked the cable, and it came undone. So it was a little technical error.
That's what it felt like.
It seemed like it was almost fucking staged, bro.
It was a little fishy.
I don't.
I liked it though. It made it interesting because it wasn't just like, oh, he's going to pass him. He's behind him, flick the DRS on, drive by him, and go around. And I like DRS from the video games and doing it, and it's more to do, and it's part of the cars moving. I think it's cool. But the racing was actually pretty nice. I enjoyed it.
I guess in a sense, yeah.
It just wasn't so easy.
At that point, they can't just pass on straight. They needed that exit speed or either going into a turn.
Yeah, and maybe it's...
outbrake the person or have that faster speed going out. So that's the way I see it.
Maybe you need the DRS with the dirty air and the bullshit that we have right now. It would become too hard.
This isn't 1997 Jacques Villeneuve chucking it up the inside of Michael Schumacher from 2 car lengths back.
Yeah.
You can't do that anymore.
No, but... I don't know. I definitely was thinking that there was conspiracies brought into that because Bottas was having trouble. He was up to P6 already. First, let me say that by lap 13, he was already in P6, which is insane to go from 20 to 6 in 13 laps.
So that's when the gap got bigger between all the cars
after the DRS.
After the DRS, but also when he got up to that positioning.
Well, and then at that point you're in 6th place and you're chasing Ferraris and Red Bulls and Mercedes.
Yeah.
You know, it's a little bit harder to make it up. But I remember when the DRS came back, he passed, where was it? I don't know. It came back on like lap 18. Yeah, DRS is back 18, and I even wrote, I was like, I kind of like this. I don't mind this. But and then Vettel tried to pass Bottas, and it wasn't happening for him. But I don't know. We've kind of been all over. How about Hulkenberg and his final race? Of his career, potentially.
Potentially, yeah, almost potentially brought me a tear.
Yeah.
Radio call at the end was a little heartwarming. Actually, everyone's radio calls at the end was insane.
Yeah, do you see Lando's?
Yeah.
He actually made his
that was
cry.
But Lando's just
Are you crying?
Are you crying? I think I'm crying.
That was incredible.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Let me just get through some of these points that I had, and then maybe we can go through the race because I'm going all over the place for myself here. The Renault and McLaren battle at one point, I think it was on lap 29, and it was Renault, McLaren, Renault, or McLaren, Renault, McLaren, Renault, and they were all within 7 seconds of each other. And I just thought, I was like, this is cool. This is a midfield hardcore battle here. Sainz, we'll get to it, but Sainz is... We'll talk about him in 2 weeks.
It's crazy just to think
show.
how much closer, how much more exciting Formula One would be if Mercedes, Ferrari, and Red Bull just weren't there. It's like how much more exciting, how much more different winners, different podiums, different teams actually competing for a win. How different it would be if those 3 teams weren't there.
Yeah, but maybe from you, but I wouldn't want that.
Oh no, I'm not saying I want them gone because they're dominating. That's not the point. It's just the fact that if you look at the Formula 1.5, that's way more exciting than anything we get at the front. For sure. I wish there was more emphasis put on it, for sure. I don't want, I hope in 2021, I don't want 8 different winners in 8 different races. That's not what I watched for, to be honest with you.
Yeah, but doesn't that make a better championship by the end of the year?
Kind of, but I like greatness. This is one of the reasons I like Mercedes so much, is because I like watching greatness.
Then that person needs to prove to us, that they're the great one.
Yeah, but then it's dominant again, and then we're back to it's a fucking circle.
It's a circle.
You know what I mean?
Circle. It's either going to be there's a dominant group, a dominant car, or it's going to be, like you said, it's going to be 8 different winners, different placements every race.
See, I love 2012 when we had Maldonado win a race.
Yeah, well, they had that. I think, was it 6 winners and the first 6 races?
7 different winners the first 7 races, and it was Alonso and the 2012 Ferrari, which was...
you've talked about many times on this show.
A shitbox.
Yeah.
The first dude to get 2 wins that season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I personally think that'd be a good... I'd like to see that. I would like to see different faces on the podium, regardless if it's a first, second, or third. Different faces.
I just don't want it to be completely different every single week, because then it's, to me, and this is maybe my own specific opinion, but then it's not special. Then Carlos Sainz getting a 3rd place it's just like, oh, he got 3rd. And then anybody's getting
doesn't get a 3rd for the rest of the year.
No. I just like when it's a big deal, when a Gasly gets a 2nd place, and it's like, holy fuck, that doesn't happen, so we make a big deal out of it. When Lewis's chances of getting on the podium are just as high as George Russell's, okay, it's awesome. I don't hate it. It's just you never get those special moments because it's just random it's like Formula E.
Well, it won't be random though. It's about the
But
driver.
then you instead of looking on the driver's past performances, you have to start looking on the performance in that race. Like if we go back to Brazil, you had Sainz started last after the engine replacement, and then you drove up to a podium.
Yep.
Like you could take away Mercedes and Ferrari, like what happened in the race, and you could still get that result going from the last to a good podium position.
That's true.
We said that today too. Look how many times we've had that already from either last place or from pits all the way up, practically up to a podium position or close to. So
This season
alone.
Yeah,
So
and it's
like,
happened.
What are the chances that's going to be happening in 2021? That's what I see. Regardless of the fact that this driver.
You start focusing on the driver and their job at the track with the current setup they have instead of across the last few seasons how they've been doing.
Fair enough. Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, I don't know. I like to play the devil's advocate, and I think maybe because I came in, and the only times that I've ever watched Formula One in my life have been the Ferrari dominance and then the Mercedes dominance. I didn't really, and I know Red Bull was in there in the middle dominating as well, but maybe that's kind of what I like, and that's why I would prefer, I don't know.
Having a dominant team?
I get
or
it.
a dominant driver?
Well, right now, I think it's, at least the last 2 seasons, has been Lewis, not Mercedes. Like, I think Lewis would have won the championship in the 2018 Ferrari.
Oh, probably. Like, I do agree with you in the sense that if you were to take, let's say you put Lewis Hamilton and Lance Stroll in the same car, obviously Lewis is going to do better. He's probably going to take, like, if you could put Lewis in, I don't know, the Racing Point.
I think personally you could take anybody and put them in the car against Lewis, and over the course of a season, Lewis is going to beat them.
Yeah, Lewis is obviously the better driver, but the point that I think we were trying to make is when you have the midfield that close, then it's the driver that
matters, not the car, of course. And it would be more interesting if we were getting the fights that we get for 7th, if those were fights for 1st.
Like
I don't disagree with that.
Like when you look at the performance of Renault and McLaren this year, with the consistency of the drivers in Sainz and Lando and Hülkenberg and Ricciardo, like Ricciardo is a race winner and was one of the better cars on the grid, right?
Yeah.
And then you go to Renault and he's still fighting for the top of that Formula 1.5 championship.
And
with his teammate Hülkenberg, like him and Hülkenberg were trading back and forth when like who's finishing ahead of who.
Yeah.
So if you were to put Hülkenberg in one of those top cars like a Ferrari or Mercedes, he'd be doing the same as like a Valtteri Bottas.
Mm-hmm.
Most likely, yeah.
Yeah. Honestly, we're hopping ahead here for 2021, but
yeah. Sorry, I was trying to find out. Daniel Ricciardo finished 9th in the championship, so I mean the only person. Well,
but also don't forget he had the DQ from Japan.
Yeah, disqualification.
So that's going to hurt him.
That's true.
Brake bias.
That's true. Yeah. The brake bias. But I mean, well, he had 54 points. Albon with 92, Gasly with 95, and Sainz with 96. That's kind of that top Formula 1.4 or 1.5, the top 4. But yeah,
it's one of I get it. It's just we want to see close racing. It's what we like.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm not going to sit here and say IndyCar has some of the best drivers because it doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
They usually have some of the cast-offs from Formula 1.
Yeah.
But
maybe not as many as Formula
But
E.
when you have to when I have to sit there and say, would you rather watch this Abu Dhabi Grand Prix or I don't know the Belle Isle race
That's
in IndyCar?
Don't say that because that one holds a special place in my heart.
I didn't even know it did.
That's the first race I ever saw as a kid. I went to the 99 and the 2000 Belle Isle Grand Prix with my dad.
That's the one in Detroit?
It's the one on the back of my karting.
I didn't even know that you did. It was just a race that popped into my head and I had to pick between which one to watch and I wanted to be exciting. I would probably watch the IndyCar race just because it's more fun for me to watch. I want to see the battling. I want to see the late breaking passes, and I want to see the pit strategy come out on top. I want to see.
I think we're solving this as far as what the difference is between it, because I know for a fact I'd watch the Formula One every single time, and I wouldn't think about it, and it's because I care more about the cars than the drivers. I think that's what it is. I think I just realized it because I don't care as much about that because I like seeing the super $1 million cars. That sounds horrible, but you know what I mean.
$1
million
race cars.
The super expensive, high technology cars, and like I always just look at Formula One and the fact that they can just drive the car as fast as they do without even having to pass somebody is an accomplishment because I know how hard that is to do on a simulator, let alone in real life. So I think I'm not that I think you're wrong. I'm just trying to figure out what my
Yeah.
Because that was a good example.
I know what you're saying. Yeah, it's one of the reasons I love ARC is because every time we have a race, it's always super close. Yeah, there's usually the one guy or whatever that breaks away.
Yeah.
But when you look at the rest of the field, it's for third or fourth. There's like 6 or 7 cars that are battling for that position, and I love that. It's that back and forth. Who's going to come out on top? Who's saving fuel this stint so they can jump the 4 cars in front of them at the end of the pit stop? And
that shit's cool.
Who's saving their tires so they can make that like. I love that. I love seeing the strategy and have the drivers come out on top. The cars, like you mentioned, that's not a big thing for me. It's someone taking that's maybe perhaps a slower car and driving it to that better position than a better car taking maybe perhaps a slower driver to a win, you know?
Yeah, fair. Yeah, no, that's fair. And when I'm sim racing, I would feel more that way. Like if it was me driving, I'd be more interested in having battles and having my driving skill be better than the car that I'm driving. Mm-hmm. But I just think what sucked me into Formula One from the beginning in 2016 was the cars. It was the look of the cars. I've talked about it to you a billion times, the old front wings. That was a big reason I got into Formula One is because of all the aero. Mm-hmm. And I just thought that was cool. And I was like, these are wicked cars, man. Like, I don't know. That's, I think, your example was good. Maybe Belle Isle, bad example, because I might watch the Belle Isle because of the special place it has for me. But, give me a Road America versus, I don't know, Spain. Even though it's like one of my least favorite Formula One races, I'm still watching Spain because I want to see the Formula One cars. I don't find Indy cars themselves as interesting. When they get to the hybrid and they start moving forward with everything that they're doing in the next 3 years.
You might like watching perhaps DTM or Super GT then.
I love GTM. I've watched a decent amount of DTM on
because those are basically
YouTube.
Road cars with like Formula One aero.
Yeah.
But you'd love Super GT because it's...
Well, I watched it with you. We watched the Bathurst.
No, that was Bathurst. That's V8 supercars.
Oh, my bad.
Super GT.
Super GT's the Japanese one.
Yeah, the Japanese.
What Jensen Button raced in.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's like the DTM cars, but they're in Japan. But it's a multi-class race, and sometimes they have endurance races at the same time.
Oh wow!
So you have the GT3 cars and then the GT500 cars, and so you have these crazy road cars with 2-liter turbos.
Yeah. Like the NSX is in that. That's what Jensen drove. Yeah, I've watched a decent amount of DTM on YouTube. And that's just looking, not knowing any connotation from the previous races or next races, but just watching to watch good racing. Not that it would make me not watch, but I think Mercedes left.
Yeah, Mercedes did leave.
Because they went to Formula E. I think that was the reason. I don't
know if that was the reason, but I know they did leave, and Aston Martin came in to fill their place.
Are they German?
No.
That's weird.
They had Ford raced in DTM with the Mustang back in '92.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
okay. See, I didn't.
Fox body Mustang.
I didn't know that. I literally thought DTM was German race cars. Only German.
It's basically just I'm trying to remember what the name is in German. Like Dutch Tourenwagen Meisterschaft or something like that.
Good. Hey, if you got it wrong, I even if you didn't, good for you. That was pretty good.
It's basically just German touring cars or German, like it's a German touring car championship.
Yeah, well, anytime I turned it on, it was always BMW, Mercedes, and Audi, and that was it. And I was like, oh, okay, this is a German racing league.
Yeah.
And then what's his name? He's in Formula E now. Fucking Gary Paffett. He's like the guy. If you watch DTM, like you're gonna see Gary Paffett. But I think he's in Formula E now too, which is the place where we go when we're not ready to race. I don't know anymore. I was a bigger fan of Formula E once upon a time. I just
I watched the race that they had the race.
Saudi one. I'm pissed.
Yeah.
I tried.
Well, they re-uploaded the full race to YouTube, so you can go back and watch whatever you want. I watched race 2.
I might as well unfollow them on every piece of social media because it's like you don't post your race anywhere, you don't let me watch it anywhere, and then you just tell me who won. So I don't know. I was upset. I was trying to watch it last week.
They upload it full to YouTube a couple of days later.
Okay, I should just stay away from spoilers and then.
You see, I don't care about spoilers.
Oh, see,
when it comes to a race, I don't care.
Big time for
me. I know guys who care, but I don't. When you could tell me like, see, I didn't see what happened in Brazil. You could have told me, okay, Max wins, Pierre second, Sainz third for the Brazil.
You still want to see how that happened.
Oh hell yeah! I'd be like, what the fuck happened? I want to watch this race now.
Well, yeah, that one's a little more. You're probably like, wait, what? Who? I would want to watch that too if I hadn't seen it, but yeah. I don't know. I guess unless you guys have some other, little points about the race, I don't know. There was something on lap 26 where I don't know if you noticed this, Honda Tech, but Max came in for a pit stop and they just didn't show his time.
I noticed that. Yeah, they also did that with Bottas too.
Yeah, and they pulled in, and I'm like, waiting. I'm like, all right. I can't wait to hear from Phil this week.
It looked like a quick stop.
I know. Honestly, I was thinking about the pit stop time from Honda Tech Phil, and I'm like, oh, well, he's not writing that time down because they're not telling us.
One thing that Max did do after the interview, they would think it was after, they did double stop the Ferraris. They asked Max how he knew they were making a pit stop, and he was mentioned on the radio, like, when my engineer was calling me, I heard the pit guns going. So he knew they were making a pit stop because he could hear the pit guns over his radio from his engineer.
Holy shit. That's crazy. We didn't talk about it either, speaking of pit stops, but Ferrari did 2 double stacks.
Yeah.
Don't know why they would do that to Vettel again. There, you want to talk about number 2. Number 2.
I mean, you can only Spinella so many times.
Well, yeah, fair enough. But he's coming back next year. I know there's a lot of rumors about him, maybe not, and that's definitely guaranteed that he'll be back.
I like all the memes of, it's like, it's the old Christian Horner, or when he was at and Vettel when he was at Red Bull. So now Vettel's kind of like screwing over his teammate and letting Red Bull win.
Yeah, I saw another meme too. It was Bonito talking to Christian Horner saying, "What's the refund policy on Vettel?" So.
That's jokes. The beginning again. This is all over, but I just didn't write it down properly. That the Gasly went out on turn 1. He had a little collision with our boy Lance Stroll there, who kind of outbraked himself into turn 1 and drove into the side of Gasly, knocked his wing off, and then that was basically his race. I think he had a one stopper maybe from there on. I don't know.
Gasly?
Yeah. I think he changed his wing and put hard tires on and then went to the end of the race.
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
I could be wrong. But
Stroll didn't make it much farther after that because he started complaining about damage right away.
Yeah, but he made it all the way to lap 48 before he retired.
Serious?
It was almost the end of the race.
Because he was right after that impact, he was saying there was some damage.
Well, he's got to come up with some kind of excuse along the line. But yeah, that happened there. I wanted to bring up that.
I couldn't see him. I was blinded by my Rolex.
Gold Daytona.
Gold Daytona. That's good.
And we're full circle.
Yeah, really though. Lap 23, Kubica and Giovinazzi having a little bit of a fight there on after the second straightaway. To me, it just looked like Giovinazzi had to pass on the outside, and Kubica was like, "Yeah, no, you're not having this one." And then they touched, and that was it. And then that led to, did safety car come out? No safety car. But there was debris and shit, and I think that was left from them, and it came up and hit somebody's car. I don't know whose it was, but again,
I remember seeing
5th time's a charm. How many people have been saved this year by that damn halo?
Halo.
And I don't mean damning because I don't like it. I just mean speaking of full circle. Jeez. Max passed Charles Leclerc wheel to wheel, lap 32. It was a nice move by both of them. Leclerc tried to take him back. Didn't work for him, but he tried.
Yeah.
Carlos Sainz had a nice pit decision on lap 43, and he's like, you know what? Fuck it. Let's do this. I'm going to make this pass. Let's put some new rubber on and see what we can do.
He did the pass on Hülkenberg, right?
Yeah, he managed it.
4/10th, right? Yeah.
It was lap 55, man, the last lap of the race.
Yeah.
When he passed him. So I had a bunch of stuff written here.
That was a dive bomb, but no lockup, no nothing. Oh, no, he did have a lockup. Sorry, I was thinking about Albon. Albon going back defending on Vettel, sorry.
Either way, Sainz, the dive that he did make, and for him to make that pass to then clinch 6th place in the championship, which he needed to do, and he did on the last fucking lap. How's that for close racing in the middle of your championship?
I'm just saying that might have been for the win if,
Yeah, fair enough. It could have been for first in the championship.
Yeah.
Imagine?
Yeah.
But, fuck, maybe. Anyway, I felt bad for Hülkenberg a little bit because Hülkenberg's last race of the season, last race of his potentially career, and he was in 10th place on lap 55, and he was maybe going to get one more point in Formula 1, and he managed to get passed by Sainz and Ricciardo and fall back.
Did you see the pass from Ricciardo's view?
No.
Or was it the exit of the double chicane where it's...
All I saw was the Sainz one. I just knew by watching the ticker.
It was before the little sector when they go under the hotel. That at the exit of the double, the left,
double.
right, left.
Yep.
It was on the exit. He got on the throttle, spun the tires, and went wide. And Ricciardo just went right through.
Yeah, Ricciardo.
Right on the exit.
You actually hear Ricciardo on the onboard. I saw that. You actually hear Ricciardo mat it for a second, and then he just brakes and passes.
So Hülkenberg had a little.
Yeah, he had a little bit of moment.
Little oversteer, snap oversteer, I guess, from too much throttle, and then just because of that spinning, Ricardo had the clear line and just gave it just enough gas to spin it and keep it going straight, and then brakes and takes the next
see,
lap.
I didn't see that. That's interesting. I wonder if that was just Hulkenberg, one last little slip
I
up.
think it was still
I think
side
it was
by.
more, yeah.
He was kind of like right here at the exit of a corner.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It wasn't just like a.
And then, it gassed and it was like,
Yeah, he was just kindly off the rubber.
yeah.
Well, yeah. Either way, I felt
Unfortunate,
bad. I felt bad a little bit for him, but you kind of can't feel bad because Science is making this pass to clinch sixth place.
You can't feel bad for him because us, the community, the F1 community, gave him driver of the day.
That
his last race in F1.
I can't say I
driver
voted,
of the day.
but we
No, fuck, I don't.
we definitely did. As well, the
I voted in my head.
yeah.
That's the thought that counts.
It was a great touch. I seen lots of memes about that too, and like people crying, and just
Yeah.
like little stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then Perez passed Norris, I think, on the last lap as well.
Oh yeah, that
He
was
had-
a good pass. It
he
was
had-
a great pass.
He had some incredible pace, Perez. I didn't know if he was going to be able to get him.
Perez is one of those guys who's going to be a Jensen Button. That if he actually gets to a top team, he's going to be getting wins.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that that's not going to happen.
I mean, he was with McLaren, but
3
that
years
was
ago.
when McLaren went bad.
And he just signed a 3-year contract with Racing Point, which we don't see very many three-year deals
Yeah,
in
that's
Formula
odd
One.
too, especially at this time, considering next year is the last year of this regulation, and then 2021 is a new one, and then he's gonna have a second year of
With the new ones,
the new
and then
one.
they'll probably wait and see like how old he is at that point if he's still like performing at the top of the Formula 1.5. If Formula 1.5
if he's still doing the pace he has now, he definitely should stay in F1.
Yeah.
I mean, like he's got a couple
absolutely.
podiums to his name. He's one of those drivers like a Jensen Button or a Mark Webber. Once he finally gets with that good team, it's gonna start clicking.
yeah, I hope so. It might be too late. I don't want to say it is. It might
He
be.
had that 1 year with McLaren, but McLaren just weren't good that year.
Well, that was when.
That was when Lewis left and he took his seat.
Yes, you're right. He did. Because wasn't Magnussen there before that?
No, Magnussen was there after.
After, because Magnussen went when Alonso came back. I think.
No, Button was always there.
No. I mean, Magnussen got, because I listened to this on the Beyond the Grid. Magnussen got the boot. Like he thought he was driving with Button,
Oh,
and then they're like, "Sorry, we're bringing back Alonso."
okay, yeah.
And then they were like, "You're kind of either a test driver." I don't know what he did that season, but yeah,
Because I know Stoffel Van Doren raced with him for the one season, and he actually got the podium in Australia.
two.
Okay.
17 and 18. I was just trying to remember because I seen Stoffel in person twice. I know I saw him in the I don't have the picture up on the wall anymore, but
IndyCar.
the black and orange
Oh yeah.
car that was like half black, half orange, like the really bad McLaren Honda.
Yeah.
And then he did last year where it was the first year of the papaya and blue.
I thought Stoffel Van Doren did the silver car.
No.
The silver and black.
No. Stoffel Van Doren's first season in Formula 1 was 2017.
Oh, then I must be thinking of Magnussen then.
Yeah.
The silver and black. Okay.
Because Magnussen was he was the last McLaren driver to get a podium
Yeah.
before Carlos. That's the only reason I know I seen him up there with the Mercedes. And it was before Honda.
All right. Yeah.
But yeah, and then Lewis gets the win. They kind of had to cut away. It was I felt bad. I was like, fuck, you have to show Lewis winning the fucking Abu Dhabi Grand Prix with the fireworks.
Yeah.
And the guy won the championship.
I'm just glad they didn't glue it to him, you know what I mean?
No, they did cut back. Well, they showed it. They said, and I think it was Crofty's like, and Perez has passed him too, Martin. And then they like cut back to it. It was good.
I know a lot of people were a bit upset not showing Sainz's move though.
Yeah, but shut the fuck up, honestly. Like anybody who's upset about that can shut the fuck up because it's like this is the last race of the year, the guy that won the fucking championship, and we're all here to see the winner of the fucking race.
Yeah.
We're not cutting from that to show somebody get sixth. I'm sorry. Like I
they
love
really wanted it, do a
Carlos
picture-in-picture.
Sainz. Yeah, exactly. If there's going to be a debate, the debate is picture in picture.
Yeah, I don't know why they haven't done that already. That's such an easy move to do.
And I'm sorry to be so blunt about it,
for
man.
like the last few laps,
But
the
it's-
final laps, like you know there's action going to be happening in a certain corner, or you think there might be.
And it's
Fucking
not
do
like
a
they
picture
can't.
in
It's not like they
respect
can't
to
even do
Lewis,
it. It's
man.
not even like they can't do a fancy animation with it. Like they have all the names on the left side. Just
Yeah.
like have it like you open up the name and it's their view from the car. Like
Yeah.
I don't like.
Something. Yeah, I hear you. I just, again, I don't want it to get, angry. It's just this guy won the fucking championship. This is the
No,
last.
I get that.
And
Yeah.
even not to get cliche, but it's like the fireworks in Abu Dhabi. That's the only race that they do where the guy crosses the line with fireworks following him as he crosses the line.
That looks fucking.
So
sick.
they want to get that visual. And frankly, like as amazing as it is for Carlos, if I'm Lewis, I know I'm Lewis and I've got 6 championships and I'm the fucking man. But it's like it's disrespectful. Like he's still the champion. of the year. He should deserve that final shot of him. And he's winning the race.
Mm-hmm.
Whether his car helped him do majority of that or not.
It's not necessarily that battle. I think it was just, especially with.
I wanted to see it too. I don't want to make it seem like I didn't want to see it.
It's just that the people haven't been happy with the TV directors across all the season because of the amount of midfield battles we've had and just not showing it.
Yeah, even I would have
like back to Brazil. They
that's what I
didn't
was just
even
gonna say.
fucking show signs going up there until he was like in 6th.
No, I was just gonna say that. I'm happy you brought that up because you're right. In Brazil, they did not show enough of the back midfield passing.
Just the TV director in general was garbage throughout the year. I've noticed.
Throughout the whole season.
Yeah, the whole season. Yeah.
Maybe we're getting a little long, but maybe we should turn this into a semi-topic here. What do you mean? I'm curious. I want to hear.
Think back to Singapore. China.
Okay.
The random cuts, cameras staring into nothing,
Oh,
and then
yeah.
the car's coming. We're gonna look this way now. The random cuts, the bad
Fucking-
graphics for tires that we've been having with
the
this
stupid-
AWS. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah. The tire graphic percentages have
Personally,
been,
for me, like,
have been pretty bad.
We've always said this is the top sport. We should have a fucking top producer up here that's monitoring all these
F1.
screens.
I'm rating.
Oh, will the throw?
The Phil and Will connection. I want to see you guys behind the knobs.
Move over, Crofty.
I just feel like with our day and age and our technology, there's so much more options and variables that you can do to give us a better viewing, a better understanding of what's happening with the rest of the field.
Especially for newer fans with a
Absolutely.
company like Liberty Media coming in and buying it and trying to get all these new fans.
Well, good thing is that we are actually getting some kind of other, midfield or, closer back fights that we're watching. Other than a few years ago, you would just see the leader the whole time. It was just the leader.
It was just the leader. Yeah, even their YouTube channel has gone up from 2016 and 17. Like 17, they started to do it because Liberty was still new, but like there was nothing.
I remember when fucking Bernie Eccleston ran the show and it was nothing online.
Nothing. But again, his interview,
and they
I
would
listened to
constantly
today was-
copyright strike anything that you had any F1 footage. Copyright strike.
Yeah. You're fucked. He talked today in his interview though that I listened to just about how that digital side he was too early. Like he started to introduce maybe ideas for that like in the early 2000s. And buddy that Tom Clarkson who asked him, he's like, "Do you think if you would have tried that now?" He's like, "Oh yeah, it definitely would have worked."
Well, see, that's the thing. So they have that seed planted in their head. Why can't they just grow that, expand on that? Why is it that we can't get Sky Sports here in Canada? Why can't we have our own rendition of an F1 channel or a racing channel in general?
Where's my F1 network?
Well,
like what the fuck? Like at least let me subscribe on their site and stream it right from the site. No commercials, no fucking.
That's not
stupid picture-in-picture.
F1. I think
is that not F1 TV though, or is that something different?
Not here, no.
Okay.
The reason that it's
Bullshit.
not, but it's TSN and Bell. That's the reason. It's not Formula One.
Cooperate.
It's Bell and TSN pay
it's
a lot of money
exclusivity
for exclusivity. They pay to have Bell be the only place, and TSN. If you want to watch Formula One, you need that. You need TSN. So that's it.
So then,
I don't agree with
give
it.
Give me an option so I can subscribe to a separate TSN channel that's fucking F1 that's going to give me 24/7 proper coverage.
Yeah,
but TSN doesn't want to have that because that's. I get what you mean, and we agree with you.
No,
it's just
I know.
we wish we had the WWE network for F1 or whatever.
Oh,
I settle with my F1 TV, and I go over and I click archive, and that's what I'm able to watch that, and I can watch all the old races.
Yeah,
that's all you do get with F1 TV here,
which is great because you can have your little look backs. You can
how far
just
back does
reminisce.
that go?
Oh, 70s, 80s. Like you can
okay,
go.
But like, does it have like the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix on it? Can you go back and watch it, or
not that soon?
Okay,
I don't.
Well,
but you can watch the entire 2018, 17, 16,
okay.
the entire season start to finish.
I know. On Bell, you can go on demand and actually find the race a few days after.
If you're subscribed to like Bell at home, like your parents or whatever,
Rogers,
or you, or
whatever.
Rogers, like you can go on the Rogers site and get it through there, through the TSN app. It's open, like you said, for a couple days. But I mean,
the best thing that they ever did in terms of social media output, back when Bernie Eccleston was the head of everything, was the race edits they did.
When was this?
Like back in like all like the late 2009, 10, 11, 12, whatever. Like I can go on YouTube and like I'll pull up like Brazil 2012 race edit, and they'll just take little highlights or clips of the race, put it to music, and make it look all flashy and stuff. And it's like a short 5-minute video, and it's super cool and exciting, and I love it.
So it's kind of like the current race reviews that F1 posts, but other than the fact that they show up kind of lap by lap and only the
like
epic moments that are happening.
Kind of, but like when they would go to Monaco, like they would always start the video with like all the nightlife before the race, like they'd show the fashion shows, all the drinking and stuff, and it would just be cool shots that they get from the race, like when they look down from their hotel and there's like the girls sitting on the thing and the cars are driving by. They put
you get a feel for.
You'd have like
everything.
the whatever hot music or what popular music is playing, and it'd be like all done to like it's super cool what they would do with the race edits, and I don't think they do it anymore, and it makes me mad.
Yeah, I don't know if I would watch those, but that sounds
like
interesting.
people have been re-uploading them to YouTube, and they haven't been copyright striked. Apparently,
the reason I say that is because it goes back to not full circle, but what we were talking. I just wouldn't spoilers. Like I would never go watch a 5-minute video of a race that I've never seen because I wouldn't want to know the results in 5 minutes. That's just me personally. I wouldn't you know what I mean. I'd want to see the lap for lap battles with the cars over the course of one of my favorite things in all of racing. Isn't even when two cars are side by side. It's when I can see one guy catch another guy over 7 laps because he's gaining 5 tenths or 2 tenths or whatever every lap, and then eventually he's behind him and then he makes the move. That build up for me is almost as exciting as the actual overtake.
I think that's just the driver and you and me both.
Yeah,
that's just being able to see the gap between you and the guy in front just getting closer.
Yeah, but
closer.
Even on TV, like not visually like on board, but yeah, you're right. But on TV, watching it, like I pull it random to one to pull out, but it was one of the first races I saw, 2016 Singapore, and he didn't make the pass, but Ricardo was chasing Nico Rosberg down the whole until by the end of the race he was like a second away from him when they crossed the line, and it was like Rosberg even said if that race had 2 more laps, then I would have got past. And it was just, I don't know. I like that slow kind of chipping
that
away.
Build up, yeah.
Chipping, yeah, and build.
Well, that reminds me that's like when Verstappen was chasing down Lewis in, I want to say Hungary.
I was just gonna say maybe save it for the best of year in review.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I'm just saying like that same situation. It gets you excited.
The build up, and you're right. It was Hungary. It was Lewis put on new tires, and he was like 35 seconds behind Verstappen, and he ended up catching him and passing him. I know exactly.
Yeah. That was for me. That's nice too, and it's different, but at the same time, it's.
I was gonna get into the kind of the constructors championship and the drivers championship for the season and the points I do every week, but I figure since we're gonna do this big long show next 2 weeks from now, it's probably better to get into it then. I mean, we've went a little long tonight. I hope you guys enjoyed the F1 update. I'm sorry if I didn't do a very good job tonight of steering the ship. I felt like I kept steering us in different directions, but I hope you guys enjoyed it anyway.
I think that was more Will and I.
Yeah, I'll take.
We were
that
just
one.
everywhere.
It's okay.
I always spitball ideas. That's
what
I do.
When I don't have notes, I'm lost too. So it's like.
It's all good. I hope everybody enjoyed it. This has been the F1 update, like I said, for episode 64, 65, 64. I'm confused now.
Should have left it. You said at the beginning.
I know, eh? Check the tape. I said it. But it's 65. But yeah, this is the F1 update. Like I said, we'll be back 2 weeks for the full episode of the Roundtable featuring the F1 season in review.
I like that.
All right, boys. 65. I had to check my paper there in the last seconds of the F1 update, but that's definitely it. This is the Roundtable. Thank you for joining us, guys. Like I always said at the beginning, if you've listened from day one, Roundtable or the LookBack Show Survivor Series in January of 2018, or now in November of 2019, I appreciate every download that anybody's ever had for this show. We put in a lot of work, but we love doing it. So thank you for downloading the show. Don't forget, check us out on Instagram and Twitter at PW LookBack on both of those. Follow, like, subscribe, share, comment, DM, PM, like I always say, all the stuff. Send us questions or topics and ideas to prowrestlinglookback@gmail.com. That's where you can do it. Don't forget, hit up teespring.com/prowrestlinglookback. You can get mugs, sweaters, everything. I want to make some more stuff. There's a few shirts on there that are kind of new. We got the one that's it's not a work. It's just a black shirt. It says it's not a work. I don't know. Maybe Will can get one. I'm looking at him. I don't know. Go check it out, guys. We appreciate it. And don't forget iTunes, Spotify, Podbean, YouTube, Google Play is where you can download the show. Subscribe, hit the 5 stars, leave us a comment. You know what I'm going to say. Make it a good one. But again, if you don't like it, leave a comment too. I want to know. I don't want fake.
Any feedback's good feedback.
Exactly, right? So
unless that's Mike feedback, then that's bad feedback.
Oh, yeah.
That's a good one. I'm at Salsa on Instagram. Donovan is at The Dawn Hour.
At Lateral G on Twitter, LATERELG.
And Honda Tech, Phil.
That's it. This has been the Roundtable episode 65. Thank you for joining me. I'm Nick.
I'm Will.
And I'm Phil. And remember, don't open your hood to strangers.
And stay classy.